Man, thank God this didn't happen the other day. Thank God this didn't happen the other day, boy. Good morning. Man, this might be the time. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do I get out? Do I take it? Or do I stay in? Or do we stay in? Some coffee. Let me get some coffee going. Good morning. Good morning. I feel like I kind of man, I forgot about the groceries. I had groceries delivered in the morning, and I woke up and I didn't know what I set my alarm for. I woke up and my dog was jumping on me because he knows when there's food at the door. And I didn't remember, went back to sleep, woke up another 2-3 hours later. And my groceries were getting cooked out there. Did we just get some news? Did we get some news? Similar pattern to you know, money flow's been red. It's been a little choppy. It almost felt suppressed. It felt suppressed, you know? Man, it's crazy. It's crazy how, I don't know, man. Sometimes, I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm just psychic or some shit. I just know something tells me it's like, get in or get out. Get in or get out. You just gotta choose one, and then boom, the big move fucking happened. Boom. I think I'm electronically, psychically gifted. I know what's on TV before it's on TV. Man, I thought about a movie just the other day that I haven't seen in years, and it was one specific scene, and it was the scene where 50 Cent is learning how to whip up that hard in that movie about him. I thought about it like a couple days ago, and then literally the next day, I walk into my room just to like put on some deodorant or some shit, and that damn movie is not only on, but it's the scene where 50 Cent learned how to whip that hard. Like, is it just coincidence? Is that coincidence? Why didn't I think of some other shit? Like, out of all the movie scenes, and it's not like that movie's been on TV, because, you know, they play the same damn movies on TV all the time. Like, if I thought of, like, Gangs of New York, no big deal. That movie's on every damn day. It's been on HBO for the last 10 years. Great movie. I watch it all the time. A good movie, I'll watch it all the time. But just that one movie of 50 Cent learning how to, you know what I'm saying, better his life and increase his wealth. And then, boom. It's not only that very movie, but that very scene. And I mean, when it's like that, that probably happens to me once every 2 months. Like 6 times a year. I'll be like, dang, what about that scene in Gone with the Wind Part 2 Director's Cut? And I walk in the room, it's like, boom, Gone with the Wind 2 Part 2 Director's Cut. It's on TV. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. They're listening. Yeah, you know, so my girl and I, we started doing a new thing where when we're talking about something important, we write it down. We had a whole meeting with each other talking about our future and certain plans. And we were writing down shit in the notebook and handing it back and forth to each other. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, yeah, good thing this didn't happen the other day, huh? Momentum's been tightening up. Money flow's been coming up for another attempt. Everyone was very mad today on Twitter. Very mad today on Twitter. And y'all see Twitter today. They mad. Okay, we need to, I gotta pay attention here because this shit's gonna just dump on me out of nowhere. It's gonna dump on me. I probably should should have taken some profits already. This shit has been so snappy and so volatile. Fuck. Oh no. Oh no. Here, okay, I'm gonna help the sell pressure for it to whiplash into buy pressure. All right, now come on back up. Come on back up, you prick. Oh, it's so over. It's so over. Damn, this is crazy. Damn. This is crazy shit. Oh man, look at the heat map. Look. Look at that. Look, it stopped. Look, isn't that crazy? Look, it stopped. Why don't we look at the heat map? God damn, how come this shit happens when I'm fuzzy still? I'm still fuzzy, man. I'm still eye cruddy and fuzzy. Look, it stopped right where there's nothing left. Really nothing left. It's going right back down to 54.4. That's my entry, right? Oh yeah, it's over. Missed it. Oh, we made 12,000 out of it. Big fucking whoop. Boo. Ooh. That's too bad. I was gonna give away all the money too. I was gonna give it away. Woohoo, come on back. Come on back, you prick. I've always believed. I've always believed. Come on back, baby. Oh, yes. Oh, we knew it was to be so. We knew it was to be so. Man, I'm telling you, if you've been playing the range, good on you. Beautiful, beautiful trigger waves to the upside here. I'll. No, 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 no. Okay. We'll take a chunk out of it. We'll take a chunk out of it for the pencil next. For the pencil next. Here, I'll take another 2,000. Another 2,000. Come on, $600. I need $400, you fuck. Okay, we locked in 30,000. Man, oh my god, look at, oh my gosh, look at all that liquidity up there. Oh my god. This thing on. Okay. All right, what's going on here? Did some news come out? Did news come out? Was there any news? She's eking, she's trying, you know, it's like it's almost been suppressed. Oh my gosh, it's Sunday today. Oh my gosh. What time is it? Oh my gosh. The weekly closes in an hour and 20 minutes. Is it the end of the month today? Is today the monthly candle? Today's the monthly candle. It's the end of the month. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. In what? Okay, so it's the end of the 2 week. What? This doesn't make any damn sense, dude. This don't make no sense. This time shit's a bunch of malarkey. You know, man invented time. That's why it's flawed. Maybe we can scalp a little bit now that we've secured some baggage. Wow, what a pump. What an amazing move. An amazing 1.5% move. Terrific. 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 But now we only got 2.8 in. We made mistakes were made. We shouldn't have done shit. Major. I'm gonna need your guys' help tomorrow. Huge announcement tomorrow. The exchange that I've told you guys about. The exchange that is going to be owned by the people. 92% of the token holders are going to be the people. Liquidity pool payouts. Fee payouts. That's right. Typically around 50% of these exchanges, and I'm talking crypto exchanges, profits are made from greedy shit, backdoor shit, hidden order books. liquidation attacks, slippage fees, all that shit is controlled, 50% of it. Your average exchange. I'm not saying any names. I'm not saying any names. I could be making this all up. In fact, what I'm saying isn't true. But about 40 to 50% of what is made is with backdoor tactics. Now, the question is, can an exchange survive without fucking people over? That's a question I ask. Been asking. Do we need to fuck people over in order to survive? If the answer was yes, I'd say okay. Let's just try to fuck people a little bit less than the others. But the answer is no. The answer is no. But they sure make a lot more money when they do, boy. Typically about twice as much. So if an exchange made, let's say, $500 million in the first quarter of the year, $250 million of it was with backdoor tactics. When I say backdoor tactics, I mean hidden order books, not just market making, but trickery making, slippage, sometimes lagging specific people in specific trades. You can lag them. So not only is this exchange not going to do all that shit, but we are going to, man, there's so much shit to it. It's going to be majority owned by the people, whoever decides to buy whatever token, and not just 60% of the fees, but 60% of the profits, roughly 60%. Could be more than that, maybe a little bit less, are going to be divvied up on a regular basis between token holders. Only 8% of those of us who have created this beast, only 8% is held by us. The rest is up for grabs. So tomorrow is our alpha testing beginning, and that's when I'll release. There's a simple step-by-step. Everyone's going to have 10K little accounts to play with it. You'll know the names. You'll have the steps in the Discord. This is for the Market Cypher Discord only. It is technically a decentralized exchange, but it actually runs and looks like a centralized exchange. Non-custodial. Your crypto stays in your own wallet, but it's done better than what's been done before, where it doesn't run like shit. And, there's always speed bumps in any business or any venture. There's always unforeseen things, and I'm sure we will have our fair share. But if this goes as planned, and if this goes as planned, man, just imagine. Imagine, let's say you have I don't want to speculate. No KYC. No KYC. See you, buddy. No KYC. Anyway, so if you're in the Discord, you already saw the announcement. Tomorrow, I will be posting the links, and there's a little step-by-step walkthrough of what to do. It's pretty, let's take 5 steps, really simple. And we're going to have our community test run, exchange functionalities and shit. Not everything's going to be there, but the important shit is what needs to be tested. Yes, you'll have 10,000 in fake money to play around with the exchange. Not real fucking money. Jeez. Yeah, I'm going to give thousands of people $10,000 in real fucking money to test our exchange. God, are you guys fucking retarded? How, man, I'm telling you, there is no shortage of fucking retards out there, I tell you. Or it's just like, you're either retarded, and I'm only talking about this specific few of you. Most of you are excellent, smart, amazing, fun people. But the few of you that are loud retards, you're either retarded, re-fucking-tarded, or you are so desperate. So desperate. And you know what? Listen, there's people who who it's like, I can understand why that person's desperate. There's people who live in very difficult, harsh places on this world, and humans. There are pockets of this earth, and there's a lot of them, that are ugly, disgusting, hard, rough. You don't even know if every day of your life could be your last. And then we're not talking quick deaths. We're talking pillaging, robbing, raping your whole family. Everything gets taken. You start over again if you're lucky to live. If living is the worst thing. Okay? In so many parts of the world, living is the worst thing. It's like motorcycle accident survivors. Squids. You better hope you don't live. So, anyways, the links will be posted in the Discord if you're just joining us here tomorrow. I can't go over the whole pitch again because there's so much to say, and it's hard to say it all in a short time. It's hard to really to present it to you guys correctly in a short time spam. And then there's people ask questions and shit. Here's what I'm gonna say. I really think this is gonna be the next big thing. I think we're gonna take over the trading space in crypto. And normal people that are either just participating or someone, especially participants, but people that just come in and want to buy the damn thing and leave, you know, I think it's going to be a game changer. And we are prepared for enemies. We're prepared for war. We are prepared for war. Been a long time coming. The target was to be up and running by the end of 2024, and we're right there. So tomorrow again is alpha testing of, you guys are gonna be able to see what the exchange looks like, how it works and shit. A lot of shit. You're gonna see a lot of shit. Man, we should have closed the whole damn trade when we were at 55.2. Wasn't that the target too? Wasn't 55.2 the target from days ago? I'm pretty sure I said 55.2 was my target. Damn, I was up like 70,000. Is Breakout similar to this exchange? No. Two different things. Damn, I should have added to this. Okay, we need to see what's going on here. Okay, we are at a little clip. Has this candle wicked back down a little bit? Yeah, I'm gonna spike a little more into this 36.51. We'll spike it. $4.2. That's better than 2.8. Four-minute VWAP oscillation potentially coming up a little bit here. The price has been moving up and down. There ain't no doubt about that. No question. This has been some volatile shit, man. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, 54.7 is the spider line. Let me whip up a cup of coffee. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I kind of feel like I have a hangover, but I didn't really drink or anything last night that I can remember. All right. I have a headache because I haven't had coffee yet. That's what's going on. That's why I have a headache. So let me blob my way over. Let me flop and wop my way over to the coffee maker and make some. I will be right back. All right, our coffee's being brewed. Coffee is a brewing. Man, is anybody watching football today? Is your team? Are your teams winning? Is everybody winning their dang teams? Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Super volatile price action. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Exited at the 55.2 target. I do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the target yesterday or the day before. I don't even know how long shit's been. Could have been 2 days for all I know. It was yesterday, wasn't it? Let the trade run, huh? Interesting. What are people seeing here? What are some of these people seeing here? I'm seeing some people that are pretty bullish. A couple of DMs from a couple of people saying they're pretty bullish. Interesting, huh? I don't know, man. I don't know. Man, we roundabout at this bitch. We eked out with 30,000. That's all right. 30,000. That's all right, I guess. This is kind of shitty. This is pretty lame. This sucks. Alright, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Oh, I could have been rich. You could have been rich. Now it's too late. Now we should just end the stream. There's no point. There's no point even trading anymore. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with crypto. I bought Bitcoin because Jack Mahler in the woman's closet. He had me. He had me at his little Jack Mahler pose. Hey, Kelly, I'm in a woman's closet. Peter Schiff is bad. Milk, I'm out of milk. I'm telling you. Okay, you know, I would be a better debater with Peter Schiff. I want to pull up the interview because I know what the true value, I know the true value of this shit is. It's very simple. It's not, that's a limited supply. Okay. That does not give anything value. Limited supply. It's being able just to send money instantly, no matter how much, no matter how small, anywhere, anytime, quickly. That is the value. But I want to pull up the heel kid. I want to pull him up in my closet. I'm in a woman's closet. Let me find it. You know, we should just watch the whole damn thing. We should watch the whole thing. We should do a watch party. Is Ripple pumping? Is Ripple pumping for you guys? What are people excited about Ripple? If you guys said Ripple was, I don't see it. Where did it go? What are you talking about? Am I still giving away 70K? What happened yesterday? What do you mean what happened yesterday? You saw? Shit. I'm sorry, I can't control YouTube. I can't YouTube. I can't change what YouTube decides to do. I want to pull up the interview. Where is it? Oh, okay, let's see here. How long is it? Okay, let's see here. We're going to find it. I found the clip. Okay, I'm going to play the clip first. I'm going to play this clip first, okay? And then we'll watch the interview.
Numbers. There's nothing to look at. You know.
Okay, hang on. Okay, first off, okay, hang on.
That it does that's any different than all the other strings of numbers of all the other crypto.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, I'm happy for the Kitco Asian guy who left Kitco. I'm happy that he's embracing this, and I'm good for him for putting this together. Damn, that boy been on vacation. This boy is cooked as fuck. Holy shit. I'm about to take a fork and knife and take his breast meat. My Lord. And so Peter Schiff Turkey, man, is and then there's a head in our face. This, I don't know what this looks like. This fucking, damn, that boy gained a little weight. Homie gained a little weight, which is okay. I'm happy for him. And then we have a baby right here. We have a baby with arms, legs, and hair and ears fully grown. He looks like, man, baby face. He has good genes. Listen, I'll give it to Jack Mahler. Jack Woman's Closet Mahler. He has young genes. He's got young genes.
Bitcoin is scarce in the sense that there's 21 million of them. But so what? It's just a string.
No, look at his little face. Oh, did you just put your pinky in your ass? Is this who you guys really fucking believe in? Is this who really represents us? No wonder everyone fucking hates us. No fucking wonder.
So what?
What?
It's just a string of numbers. There's nothing to look at. You know, there's nothing that it does that's any different than all the other strings of numbers of all the other cryptocurrencies. Okay. In fact, there's 22 point.
I'm just. Oh my God. My woman's closet. No wonder why everyone fucking hates us.
1 quadrillion Satoshis. I mean, there's enough Satoshis for everybody to have hundreds of thousands of them. You can't do anything more with a Bitcoin.
Okay, so you know what pisses me off? I'll tell you, is instead of listening or even rebuttaling, even cutting him off, like, go ahead, cut Peter Schiff off, debate his point. The crypto people, the women's in the closet people, they just hammer the same points. Okay. Just like when someone says, like on Twitter today, I had a couple little Twitter battles, little X battles, you know. Nothing crazy, but I talked about, I think, taking a knee in the NFL to run the clock for 2 minutes, it should be taken out of the game. That's my opinion. You can agree or disagree. I have my reasons. No big deal. Gotten a couple Twitter battles over it, and people go, "Oh, at least I don't wear a COVID mask." They say COVID, and everyone knows I've been doing this shit long before COVID. So you can't tell me I'm wearing a COVID mask. Rather than debating my actual point, you just hammer the same things. Like, how many times are you going to say that I'm wearing a COVID mask, bro? Number one, it's just a mask. Ain't no COVID mask. Is Batman wearing a COVID mask? Okay. Is Spider-Man wearing a COVID costume? Okay. So like, just give me your opinion. And so it's like these Bitcoin people, they don't listen. They don't fucking listen. And they just instead want to shake their head a little booty pinky.
The string of numbers. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing that it does that's any different than all the other strings of numbers.
So now he looks like he might listen. So that's how long the attention span is of kids these fucking days. He was listening for 1 second. 1 fucking second. Now he's looking at, he doesn't give a fuck about any of the facts that the roasted chicken is spitting out. Everything this man is saying is right.
Currencies. In fact, there's 22.1 quadrillion Satoshis. I mean, there's enough Satoshis for everybody to have hundreds of thousands of them. You can't do anything more with a Bitcoin than you can with a Satoshi, which is nothing. And I never said,
God, I can't stand this kid. I can't stand him.
That something has.
So, okay, you help build Lightning Network or some shit. Good job. Maybe he's a good coder. Maybe he's a trust fund kid. You can't choose who you're born. He's probably very nice. He's probably a nice, fun little fruitcake to be around. He's probably a really cool kid. He's probably nice and respectful. Maybe. I don't fucking know him. Never met him. I don't know him. But God, I hate shit like this.
Has to be tangible to have value. Intangible assets, software is valuable, music, all kinds of things.
So, the roasted chicken learned from Layla Hepburn about the tangible asset thing. Tangible assets? He's like, not everything is tangible. Not everything valuable is tangible. Music, intelligence, IP. He's right. So I'm sorry, but Peter Schiff is spitting nothing but fucking facts right now.
Things that you can't physically touch have value because of the things that they can do and the benefits that I derive from using them. But that is not true about Bitcoin. The only benefit people hope to derive from Bitcoin is getting rich when it goes to the moon. And in order for that to happen, more people have to be foolish enough to buy it.
Here we go with yeah, stick it in my ass. Stick it in my ass and talk about Lightning Network. Stick it in my ass and let's talk about I'm better than you. Yeah, whatever. Fuck, no wonder why we're the laughing stock of the world. How long is the full interview? Maybe we should watch the full interview, but it's going to be a lot of takes. We're going to have a lot of takes. It's going to take us hours to get through it. But you know what? He's one of the cool kids. He's one of the cool kids. Yeah, I'm one of the cool kids. Yeah, me and Pompliano and fucking other, whatever. I actually like Pompliano. I fuck with Pompliano. I actually like Pompliano. Him and his bros. I'll take Pompliano over fucking this kid any day. Pompliano was in the military. He's got like 100 brothers that all look like him. I like Pompliano. But they're in that little cool kids zone, you know. And I'm in a woman's closet. He ain't in the trenches like us, bro. We in the fucking trenches. God, I can't take that shit. I'll tell you, I'll debate Peter Schiff. I can bring a better case to Bitcoin. The transactions where it's at, stick with that, not the scarcity. If Bitcoin was scarce, it would be the only cryptocurrency, but there's not. There's meme shit coins, fuck coins, and shitter coins. So you can't say Bitcoin is scarce. It's not. It's not. Okay? It's not.
You know you want it.
Yeah, bro, any issues you have, listen, the Discord, you have to be let into it. It's not an instant access thing. So, if you, if you think you're having any problems, brother, just email support. But typically, the Discord access isn't instant.
You know you want it.
Yeah, I'm in a woman's closet.
Over this.
Kelly.
Sometimes I want it back.
And then every ounce of everything, it's like they speak and then they shut off and play their little game. It's like that's not someone you can actively debate, you know, and acknowledge. If when you debate someone, you're supposed to be acknowledging them, you know, and really listen to what they say. Interrupt them if you need to, and say, no, that's not true, or yes, that's true. This is why you're wrong. This is why you're right. Not, here's the same fucking sentence. Bitcoin is scarce. Hey, I thought about Billy today. Billy, good to see you. I thought about you today. I got a watermelon today. I was going to post a picture of it. If you got Market Cipher last night, you should have the indicators. You probably put in your TradingView username incorrectly. Log into the website, and in the back office, there's a place that says for your TradingView username in Discord. So it's case sensitive with your TradingView username. Log in the website. Are people not getting emails after they buy Market Cipher right now? Like, is our email thing fucked up? This is what happens when you put responsibility in other people's hands when you're too busy. You know what I'm saying? I hope our emails aren't fucked. Did you get an email after you purchased Market Cipher? That's my first question. Okay, you got an email. It's all good. Yeah. So if you don't have the indicators up, you got it. You're not entering in your TradingView username correctly. You bought Market Cipher last night, got email, and got access to Discord and indicator. Okay, good. Yeah. What's the Kitco Asian guy's name? Let's see. Jack Mahler versus Peter Schiff. Here it is. Dated link. Oh my God, it's an hour and a half long.
You don't need governments, right? And it doesn't have to be centralized.
It hasn't outperformed anything. It hasn't outperformed commodities at large. And since Bitcoin's existed, Bitcoin's outperformed everything. The country is proposing a strategic reserve where what if people like Peter don't understand this asset at all and are wrong? It actually
strategic for what? What do we need it for? I can understand a strategic petroleum reserve in case we run out of petroleum. How are we going to run out of Bitcoin? Nobody needs it.
The issue of how to invest our money in tumultuous and volatile times.
Let's listen to this, brother. Zoom the camera out a little bit. Let's zoom the camera out a little bit, buddy. But you know, I understand with angles and shit. If you gain a little weight, he's probably trying to hide that he's gaining a little weight. It's okay to gain some weight, man. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to gain some weight. So should we keep a score book? Should we have a score book? Let's see here. I want to bring up a little notepad, and I'm going to keep score of who I think, and we're going to see who wins in the end. Is it the guy who just came out of an oven? Or a 2-year-old that's grown a full body? He's got good genes. He's got young genes. He's kind of shaven. Is he shaven? He looks like he's a bear. I wonder if he's ever even, is he able to grow any hair? Look at them pussy lips. That's a nice pussy. I'd fuck that pussy. Fuck that pussy. That's a nice red pussy.
Perennial discussion. We'll be talking about what is the best, if any, alternative to the dollar. We'll be talking about de-dollarization trends, the future of our economy, and where Bitcoin and gold may be headed in the coming election cycle. We'll be talking to two titans of their respective spaces, Peter Schiff, Chief Market Strategist of Euro Pacific Asset Management, and Jack Mahler's CEO and founder of the crypto firm Strike. Welcome, gentlemen. I've spoken to both of you individually. It's a great honor to have both of you here at the same time, speaking to my audience to discuss these very important investment issues. Welcome.
Oh, hey, David, thanks for having me on. How you doing, Jack? Nice to meet you.
I'm good. I will say, Peter, I told you offline, I definitely don't agree with everything you stand for, but I have a deep admiration and a lot of respect for what you stand against. And I grew up watching your stuff, and so I'm really appreciative for your work, and I'm looking forward to talking Bitcoin.
Well,
Bitcoin
I have
gold.
a feeling that
I give 1 point to Jack Mahler, baby man, for that opening statement. 1 point to him.
there's only one thing that you disagree with me about, and that's Bitcoin. Now, there may not be anything else, so we'll see.
Yeah, and thanks for putting it together, David.
Well, we're going to be talking about both.
He's starting out strong. He might win this. I could change my mind about yuck, woman's closet kid. I might change my mind. So far, he's in the lead.
What Peter stands for and against, to have a discussion about that. Peter, let's start with you. Elon Musk recently tweeted, "I have never been materially active in politics before, but this time I think civilization as we know it is on the line. If we want to preserve freedom in a meritocracy in America, then Trump must win." You responded with the following tweet: "I agree Trump must win, but even if he does, the U.S. is facing a U.S. dollar."
Hey, listen, bro, that's a facade. The whole he's living in a house with nothing in it, a man's life, that's a facade. I guarantee you haven't seen any other rooms in his place. I got a nice house, but living in a woman's closet, that's a facade. That I'm in a woman's closet, Kelly. He's fucking been doing that. He's been pulling that shit for a long time. I'm about to take a point away from him. I'm taking that point away because he's still in that fucking closet.
And sovereign debt crisis. The inflation we've experienced so far under Biden will be even worse under Trump. Electing him is not a panacea, but it's much better than the alternative. Okay, so two things I want to unpack. Why is inflation going to be much worse under Biden than under Trump, or under, I guess, a hot Harris victory? And second, why are we facing a U.S. sovereign debt crisis?
Well, first of all, it's going to be worse under Harris as well. It's not.
I think we should add the milk dud guy in the middle for some points. These are good questions. Good job, David Lynn.
just Trump. It's just that whoever is elected, I think the inflation problem is going to grow larger over time. And that's because all of the factors that are driving inflation are going to get worse. We're going to have much larger deficit spending over the next 4 years than we've had over the prior 4 years. I mean, that's just a trend. We have an explosion in entitlements, which no candidate wants to touch. In fact, Donald Trump wants to increase Social Security because he wants to stop taxing it. That's the same thing as an increase in benefits. But nobody is going to do anything about interest on the national debt, which is spiraling out of control. Now it's over.
And this kid cannot sit still. This kid cannot sit still. But that's okay. I can understand being a little nervous at the beginning of an interview. So I'm not deducting any points. I'm not taking away any points from him yet for squirming like this. But this kid is moving like the sharm worm. He's doing the sharm worm.
$1 trillion a year. It's the third biggest line item in the budget, more than national defense. But in another year or two, it's going to be bigger than Social Security and Medicare. And again, those expenses are going to be growing. So the pressure on the Fed to return to quantitative easing in an even bigger way than it's done in the past is going to.
I'm about to deduct a point from Jack Muller's because he had to make sure his centimeter of a sideburn is perfectly flapped down. That's okay. You know, I don't mind making sure you want to look good in front of a camera. I can understand that. Let's continue. No points yet. He's going to get 1 point for crushing his state. He's made one big statement, which is both parties will increase inflation. I do believe that so far. We're going to give him 1 point. We'll see what he says next.
Be extreme. And so I think the inflation, which is basically quantitative easing, it's printing money to monetize government deficit spending. We're going to have bigger deficits under either Trump or Harris. And the Fed is going to create even more inflation to finance them. And the dollar is going to go lower. You know, we're already at a 13-year low against the Swiss franc, about 7% away from an all-time record low. The dollar is going to start breaking down against other.
Oh, is he drinking a prime? Oh boy, I would expect this as a prime. Look, he's having his little bippy. He's got his bottle. Baby man's got his bottle. Baby man's got his bottle. I'm gonna give him a point because he's sticking to he's rocking his baby bottle. He's got his baby bottle. It's not a prime. I give him a point. It's tied right now.
Other fiat currencies, gold at an all-time record high, above 2,500, getting ready to move quite a bit higher. So these are early signs that the Fed's upcoming rate cut is a policy mistake. In fact, the Fed stopped hiking too soon. It should have hiked rates more, but it stopped because the banks started to fail. Not because it won the battle against inflation, but
true. I got to give him another point for that.
Because the collateral damage in the financial sector was too great. And it's going to be great in the government, in corporate America, households. So you're going to see more impetus to lower rates, despite inflation rising and ultimately making new highs. So it's unfortunate. And I wish people didn't regard Trump as a panacea. We can't just elect him and all of a sudden America is going to be great again. In fact, he didn't make America great the first time he was president.
I'm deducting a point for that. He sure as fuck made it greater than any other someone else could for 4 years. He's back down to 1 point. But 4 years isn't long enough. We need a king. We really need a good king, a good dictator to come in and save this country because we are fucked.
The budget deficits got bigger. The trade deficits hit record highs. So Trump did nothing in his first term.
He looks really tasty. I would like to bask him with butter and chicken grease, and he looks very tasty right now. Nice and crispy, a nice crispy skin, turkey based. Looks very tasty. I'm going to give him a half a point for that.
To really turn the tide. And I'm hopeful, but not, I don't expect him to do anything different in his second.
Okay, I'll come back to some of those points in just a minute. I'll give Jack a chance.
Notice, here's what I'll say. This man was spitting data, facts. I mean, he's got a lot of knowledge in that turkey-basted brain. He's got a lot of knowledge in there. He's got a good memory, this man does. You know, he's experienced. He puts himself out there and debates these Bitcoin babies all the time. He's a very red person. So I'm going to give him another half point He's a very articulate. Maybe articulate's not the right word. I'm sorry. He spits facts. Most of the time. I mean, he's spitting facts. It's 2-1. Oh, and baby man is taking his bippy again. What do you know? Hey, yeah.
To give his economic outlook.
Is he a handcoffer? Is woman's closet? Is he a handcoffer? I'm willing to bet he's a handcoffer. If he coughs in his hand during this interview, ooh, it's going to be hard to come from that one.
Look, I want to read this tweet you made, Jack, a few weeks ago. Gold's performance right now is telling, you said on Twitter, X. It's clear the U.S. debt and fiscal position is beyond the tipping point. Rising rates, bullish hard assets. Falling rates, bullish hard assets. What is the market saying? Either way, the only way out is monetary expansion and inflation. So I think similar thoughts as Peter's, but I'll let you expand on what you wrote there.
Yeah, no, I don't need to take up too much of our time. I generally agree. I think anyone in debt traditionally has two options. You can either pay it back or default. The catch-22 with the US government and anyone that issues their own nation state currency is they can print and debase the thing that they owe. And so we know mathematically the government can't afford its debt. And we know that the United States defaulting as the world reserve currency is not an option. And so they have to debase the currency. It's their only way out is through. They have to print. And the financial markets are saying as much, in my opinion. Interest rates have gone up. Gold is up. Bitcoin's up. Stock market's up. When interest rates were zero and we were living through COVID inflationary times, Bitcoin up, stock market up, gold up. So I think we're past the point where I honestly don't even think Jerome Powell matters as much. I think he maybe did up until, COVID. But right now it's Janet Yellen. I think we're living in some early form of fiscal dominance, and clearly there's dollar liquidity. Even though we've had the fastest rate hike ever, they've tripped up banks. You've seen gold, Bitcoin, and U.S. stock markets all make highs within the last few years. So I agree with everything Peter said. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I'll give him one solid point. So far, good job, kid. Good job, kid. It's tied right now. Although I might want to eke another half point to the roasted turkey because he was really laying shit out. And in a debate, when the other person agrees with everything the other guy says, that's kind of, what I'm saying. I mean, but he's telling the truth. I'm gonna give the roasted turkey an extra 2.25 points because he is agreeing with what he's saying, and he, what he was saying was true. The Jerome Powell shit, totally true. Okay.
So I'll let you comment on gold and Bitcoin first. So gold, your outlook for gold. Peter Schiff, let's start with Peter. This graph shows the breakdown of the positive correlation between gold ETF holdings and the price of gold.
I have to take this phone call. It shouldn't be long. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I'm going to put some music on. I'll be right back. Already, we're back. Thank you for your patience. If you're just joining us, this is a watch party between. Yeah, here we go.
This is a tweet you made just 2 days ago. The breakdown stated in 2022 and really went negative starting in late 2023. It only recently turned back positive. This means the gold rally is about to gain momentum. Can you elaborate more on what you found here with that chart and generally just give us your outlook on gold?
Yeah, well, first of all, historically, at least going back to the formation of the gold ETFs, the price of gold and the assets under management.
He's Adderall the fuck out. That's why he keeps moving. This is the Adderall generation. That's why he can't stop moving. He's addied out. The lights are bright, and so his pupils are small because he's got the light in his face. But my guess is he's on the Addy, which hey, it's legal. You know, I mean, I wish Adderall was a drug that I liked. I tried it one time when I was in my one semester of college, and I was like, oh my God, my jaw was locked. It was horrible, horrible. I wish I liked Adderall because man, I get so much more shit done. But when you see someone that takes Adderall on a regular basis and they don't have Adderall, they are gacking. They gack.
Of the gold ETFs have gone in a positive correlation with one another. As the price of gold goes up, more people want to buy. And so there's more money that's coming into these ETFs. And the converse, when gold starts to pull back, people get nervous and they sell. And so as the price of gold goes down, there's net liquidations out of the gold ETFs. Well, that all broke down, started kind of in 2022, but really kicked into gear in late 2023, where we saw an almost parabolic, rise in gold. Gold went up 25% in a short period of time. But during the same period of time, we saw record outflows from the gold ETFs. And I think not a coincidence, they really started to pick up in January of this year when all the Bitcoin ETFs launched. And I thought that maybe there were a lot of people, ETF investors, who were making the switch. They were selling gold ETFs and buying the Bitcoin ETFs. But I thought that was a great contrarian indicator because when retail is selling, it's generally a bullish indicator. But the question is, if you had all these retail investors selling their gold, why'd the price go up so much? Somebody was buying, and it was the institutions, mainly foreign central banks, that were buying the gold that retail investors were selling. And interestingly enough, I tweeted out today, since those ETFs came public about the second week of January, since the opening trade, they're up about 16.5%, but gold's up 24% during the same time period. And if you actually look, even though Bitcoin made a new nominal record high this year in dollars, it never made a new high in gold. The high for Bitcoin priced in gold was still back in 2021, and we're more than 30% below that high now, about 3 years later. So I think the tide has already turned, where Bitcoin is going to continuously lose value measured in the price of gold, and especially when you look at the market cap.
The super cycle. It's the end of the super cycle for Bitcoin. I'm bearish for the next couple years, is my guess. At least a year or two on Bitcoin. Gold's been held back under 2,000 for a long time. If you've been a part of my channel for more than 3 or 4 years, you know what my theory was with gold. It turned out to be turned out to be correct. That one of the top 3 gold holding banks had to go down in order to release the shackles on gold. It happened. Bunch of banks went down. Credit Suisse, though. It was Credit Suisse. Now we start seeing gold come up. It's sitting at 2,500, but we're never going to see gold at $2,000 again. I don't really like debating gold versus Bitcoin. That's not. I feel like it's just a dumb fucking argument because both have their values. You can't instantly send gold across the world for $10 or $100 million with no middlemen in seconds. It's I really don't like comparing the two, and I think when people do that, it's kind of stupid. Especially when they try to compare charts. It's like, okay, Bitcoin's been around for like 10 years. Gold's been around for 1 million years, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, he maybe earns a point on this. Let me rewind it a little bit because I kind of forgot half the shit he's saying.
Made a new nominal record high this year in dollars. It
Okay,
never
so now he's
made a
talking about
new
the price
high
of gold versus Bitcoin.
in
Okay.
gold. The
Yeah, he's
the
gonna be
high
right for
for
a couple years.
Bitcoin priced in gold was still back in 2021, and we're more than 30% below that high now, about 3 years later. So I think the tide has already turned, where Bitcoin is going to continuously lose value measured in the price of gold, and especially when you look at the market cap, because gold has added a tremendous amount of market cap this year, given how much larger the market cap already was. So it's going to be very elusive. I hear a lot of people, Bitcoin thinks that, Bitcoiners think that it's going to overtake gold's market cap when it's actually been falling further and further behind in market cap related to gold over these past 3 years. Despite all the hype, all the ETFs, MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor, El Salvador ETFs, all this stuff.
Michael's strategy, that's a good one. I'm gonna give him a point for that. I'm gonna give him 0.75 points, so he's gonna be at an even 3. It's the roasted chicken looking so tasty, turkey basty is at 3, and baby man with young adult male body is at 2. It's a close race.
Stuff, Super Bowl ads, massive conferences, they still can't get Bitcoin to make a new high.
Jack, I'll let you
Ooh, that was a good one. Boy, that Super Bowl FTX ad and all that shit can't push Bitcoin to a new high. He earned that. I'm gonna give him another point for that. That was a good nail in the cross there. That was a good nail in the cross for the turkey man. 4-2. Now it's baby man's turn to get a couple points back. Let's see what he says.
respond, but just to jump off of Peter's point here, this is a chart of Bitcoin, and I'm going to overlay it with a chart of gold. So Bitcoin is the bar chart, gold is the purple line in this particular graph. Over the past,
but it's what the people want. Comparing the gold to the Bitcoin chart, it's Coliseum shit. It's what your average stupid retail person wants. Comparing gold to the price action of Bitcoin, stupid thing to do. So he's kind of setting up Jack Mahler on this one. I might have to take it easy on whatever he's about to say in a woman's closet. Forewarning, if he mentions being in a woman's closet or he coughs in his hand, it might be an instant loss. We're going to take away major points. If he coughs in his hand or says he's in a woman's closet, he's going to lose major points. It's kind of a shitty setup question for him, but we'll see what he says.
Past 1 year, you've seen somewhat of a close correlation. Recently, as of the beginning of August, we're seeing more of a divergence as Bitcoin trails down and gold has been trailing up. So I'll let you comment on, first of all, historical price performance in the past 12 months, and then your outlook for Bitcoin.
Well, if you were to zoom out that same chart, David,
Sure.
Bitcoin
He what? You're saying he coughed in his hand? When did he cough in his hand? When did he cough in his hand? We're at 11:05 right now. Remember that. When did he cough in his hand?
That were buying the gold that retail investors were selling. And interestingly enough, I tweeted out today, since those ETFs came public about the second week of January, since the opening trade, they're up about 16.5%, but gold's up 24% during the same time period. And if you actually look, even though Bitcoin made a new nominal record high this year in dollars, it never made a new high in gold. The high for Bitcoin priced in gold was still back in 2021, and we're more than 30% below that high now, about 3 years later. So I think the tide has already turned, where Bitcoin is going to continuously lose value measured in the price of gold, and especially when you look at the market cap, because gold has added a tremendous amount of market cap this year, given how much larger the market cap already was. So it's going to be very elusive. I hear a lot of people, Bitcoin thinks that Bitcoiners think that it's going to overtake gold.
He stopped moving as much, so he's calmed down a little bit.
Market cap when it's actually been falling further and further behind in market cap related to gold over these past 3 years. Despite all the hype, all the ETFs, MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor, El Salvador ETFs, all this stuff, Super Bowl ads, massive conferences, they still can't get Bitcoin to make a new high.
Jack, I'll let you respond, but just to jump off of Peter's point here, this is the chart of Bitcoin.
Broke down, starting kind of in 2022, but really kicked into gear in late.
Made just 2 days ago. The breakdown stated in 2022 and really went negative starting in late 2023. It only recently turned back positive. This means the gold rally is about to gain momentum. Can you elaborate more on what you found here with that chart, and generally just give us your outlook on gold?
Yeah, well, first of all, historically, at least going back to the formation of the gold ETFs, the price of gold and the assets under management of the gold ETFs have gone in a positive correlation with one another. As the price of gold goes up, more people want to buy. And so there's more money that's coming into these ETFs. And the converse, when gold starts to pull back, people get nervous and they sell. And so as the price of gold goes down, there's net liquidations out of the gold ETFs. Well, that all broke down starting kind of in 2022, but really kicked into gear in late 2023, where we saw an almost parabolic rise in gold. Gold went up 25% in a short period of time. But during the same period of time, we saw record outflows from the gold ETFs. And I think not a coincidence, they really started to pick up in January of this year when all the Bitcoin ETFs launched.
Did he cough? Did he cough right there? Or did he just, I don't know if that's a cough. So right now I don't see any coffin hand. Let's get
Well,
back
if you were
to
to
it
zoom out
here.
that
Hang
same
on here.
chart, David,
Sure.
Bitcoin also, so I got one pulled up as well. Bitcoin made a local high.
Boom, and he loses a point for just that statement alone. Let's put it back to normal. Jack Mahler loses a point for just saying whatever the fuck he did, local high. Get out of here. Loses a point. Maybe I'll give it back to him. We'll see what he says next.
When priced in gold in late 2013, it entered a what Peter's calling a gold bear market all the way until 2017, where it hit smashing new highs. That was a 3-year gold bear market Bitcoin was in. It then made another smashing high in December of 2017. It remained in what Peter describes as a gold bear market up until 2020, where it made new smashing highs. And so now we're in what Peter's describing another gold bear market for another 3 years, where I see no evidence as to why Bitcoin won't continue to smash and make new highs. And then maybe some years down the road, I'll be on a call just like this, and Peter will say, we'll enter another gold bear market. You can't call an asset over a 3-year period, such a short time frame, a bear market, when over its history, it's continuously outperformed gold over and over and over again. To me, that looks like a
And now, here's what I'll say. I'm going to take it easy on him on this one because he was set up with a bad question. The whole gold Bitcoin chart, bad question. A 3-year and 10-year time span versus something that has hundreds, even potentially even really thousands of years of history. Sorry, that's still a blip in the sand. I'm not going to take a point away because the question was shit, but
adoption cycles. That doesn't look like a bear market. I think for my case for Bitcoin, in my opinion, it's the best money in human history. It's for very
I might give him a point for that. I might give him a point just because it's of easy. I'm gonna gonna give him a point for that. Even though we can't really buy a lot of shit with it, we sure can. A store of we sure can send it anywhere. How much? I'll give him a point for that.
fundamental purposes of the properties that we want in a money. For one, it's the scarcest money in human history. It's the only monetary asset of all time that has a
Wrong.
fixed supply.
Wrong.
It's the most portable asset of all time. It's the only monetary asset that you
Right.
can teleport over a communications channel like the internet. It's the
You can do that with digital fiat. So he made a couple points that were wrong. I'm not going to take points away from him. But his last 4 points were incorrect.
most divisible asset of all time. It can measure an asset that's the size of a grain of sand. It can also measure assets the size of sports franchises. It is infinitely divisible because it is bytes of data. It's durable, it's portable, it's actually censorship resistant to governments and central parties, which gold, unfortunately, is not. And so to me, Bitcoin has been the most performant asset since it's been invented in human history. If you don't want to take the early number bias, over the last decade, Bitcoin has an average annual return of around 60%. Gold has an inflation adjusted return of annually.
So it's real easy to compare. So he's not. This is typical again. He was set up by the question. He's given these answers, but he was probably I'm sorry, but it's easy to take something that starts off the price so low, and then the first couple years the gains are 20,000%, and now when you average in the last 3 years, now it's down only 60%. What about the last 5 years? You know what I'm saying? So this can really be flipped really well. He's not earning any points. I'm not going to take points away, but he's definitely not earning any points. Standard same shit that they always say. Bad question on David Kim.
Around 2% over that same duration. So I think Bitcoin is better money. I think monies compete over monetary policy, and I expect Bitcoin to continue to do what it's already done.
Okay, Peter, I'll let you respond. Bitcoin is better money. What's your response to that?
Well, first, a few points. Yeah, gold over that time period was going sideways because you forget from 20 2001 to 2011, gold went from 270 to 1900. So it had a huge move really before Bitcoin came on the scene, and then kind of digested that move for a while, and it's only recently broken out, and that's why it's starting to go up. But if you want to look at 3 years and say that's too short a time frame for Bitcoin, we have to look at the long term. Well, Bitcoin doesn't really have a long term. It's only been around, what, 12, 13 years. So
My point exactly. My point exactly.
you're talking about, 25% of the history of Bitcoin when you're talking about 3 years. But also, you can't ignore all of the hype that's occurred in the past 3 years that should have driven Bitcoin much higher. In fact, if you go and look at what all the Bitcoin bulls were saying a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago about where Bitcoin would be, nobody thought it would be this low. I mean, everybody was talking about crazy numbers. And so it's been very disappointing from that respect.
True. Even me. Listen, I bought, and I know sometimes my little excuse is that I buy Bitcoin at the tops to help do my part, and that's partially true. But when I bought $1 million worth of Bitcoin at 69,000, sure, maybe it goes down to 65, but I thought that bitch had a little more in her. So he earns another point so far, maybe even two. I'll give him one because I don't want to, I'll give him shit. Okay, he's at 5 points.
Now, getting back to your idea that Bitcoin is the greatest money that's ever been invented, I don't think it qualifies as money at all, because money has to be the most marketable commodity, and the commodity has to have value unto itself, and Bitcoin has none. Bitcoin is
Not true, not true. As long as it does have a value, we can use it as money. So he's wrong about that. The roasted turkey, he still looks very tasty. I still want to take a fork and knife to him and take a part of his breast. I want that white meat.
used to exchange, and you could speculate on it. You could buy it, and maybe somebody else will pay a higher price. But apart from that, it's not used for anything the way money is supposed to be, like gold is. But I'm surprised that you don't recognize this, Jack. But with the internet and with blockchain or without blockchain, gold can actually function as much better money than it ever has in the past. And it did a pretty good job for hundreds or thousands of years, because you could take gold, you could tokenize it, and now I could divide it infinitely into tiny little specks. I can send it across the world as quickly. In fact, I can send it faster than I can send Bitcoin. I can send it for less money than I can send Bitcoin. So we could use gold as the basis of a digital monetary system that is much better than when gold was the basis of a paper monetary system. And remember, before governments issued paper currency, private companies issued their own note currency backed by gold. In fact, going back to the old blacksmith and a warehouse receipt, people found that it was easier to negotiate a receipt for gold than go to the blacksmith and actually get their gold. And so you could do the same thing, especially with your company. You can make it very easy for people to transfer ownership of gold. The gold itself doesn't have to go anywhere. All that has to go is the ownership. And so if ownership can be transferred, to buy something as small as a pack of chewing gum or a football franchise, you can do that with gold. So, but gold is much more stable than Bitcoin, and it's actually a store.
Again, you really can't. I mean, at least that business ain't really developed. If I want to send someone money right now, I can't send them no fucking proof of ownership of a speck of gold. So he's still incorrect here. He's still above the baby man with limbs by 2 points, but I believe he's incorrect.
Store value, because gold actually has value to store. Bitcoin has no value. It only has a price, and price is very volatile, and price can collapse. And so everything you like about Bitcoin, you can replicate with gold and actually have a real solution to the problem that you're hoping to solve.
Before we continue with the interview, I want to tell you a little bit about a great platform for executing your trades. Today's sponsor, Moomoo. Moomoo is a robust platform tailored for both beginner and seasoned investors, featuring real-time market data, advanced charting tools, and customizable alerts. It keeps you ahead of market trends. With data-driven insights and effective trading strategies, Moomoo helps you make informed and confident investment decisions. For U.S. users, use my link to open an account and make a qualified deposit to get up to 15 free stocks and enjoy a limited time.
Is Moomoo a Pokemon? Is Moomoo a Pokemon?
0.1% APY on uninvested cash for 3 months. You can also earn up to $300 cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio over. If you're in Canada, you can also open an RRSP or TFSA account with Moomoo without any minimum fees, allowing you to maximize tax benefits. Compared to other platforms that charge up to $9.99 per US stock trade, Moomoo offers a significantly lower fee of just $1.99. Make sure to use the link below to take advantage of these bonuses now. Okay, Jack, can you respond to they just claimed that, yeah, Bitcoin is not money for the reasons he stated?
Yeah, there's a lot in there. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to march my way through all those claims. I knew Peter wouldn't like the data I present because it doesn't act in gold's favor. So I came with a lot of data. So I did come, Peter, I know you too well, man. I grew up watching your stuff. I did come with from January 1971 till March 2024. So I took this most recent March. Gold's average annual returns is 7.9%. So you're right. It is higher than the two, but it's still less than basket of commodities at an average of 8% and far less than US stocks at close to 11%. So gold, I don't know.
Well, stocks are an investment. Stocks pay dividends. They generate income. I don't compare gold to stocks. I compare gold to the euro, to the dollar, to the yen. And so it's outperformed fiat currencies. But yes, it hasn't outproduced income, producing assets. Now, of course, there are some stocks that have gone bankrupt.
It hasn't outperformed anything. It hasn't outperformed commodities at large. And since Bitcoin's existed, Bitcoin's outperformed everything. Gold hasn't.
Yes, so I agree. I grant you that.
So, okay.
There's nothing that Bitcoin hasn't outperformed. And that will be true. By the way, if next year Bitcoin is down at 10,000, that will still be true. Bitcoin would have still outperformed everything, but most people who own it will have lost almost all their money. So
True. I'm telling you, any normal person, like when you go out to dinner or or when those people text you and say, should I buy, should I sell? They have all lost money in crypto 100%. You can't say that with stocks. You can't even say that with gold. You can't say that with people's 401ks have been working their whole life. You know what I'm saying? So anyone that's joined crypto, they all fucking took their lick.
What good is that going to be?
Okay, so the point of that is just to show that I'm not handpicking.
No points awarded. No additional points awarded so far.
Data, all data that you want to pick for gold does not act in gold's favor. It does not promote the ideas that Peter embodies.
Gold's not an investment.
Data's bad for gold.
Gold's not an investment.
Hold on, Peter.
I don't know what he's talking about there, but I don't know what you mean data's bad for gold. That don't make no damn sense.
I'll let you finish. This is embarrassing for both of us if we're shouting over each other. So, David, the real problem with gold is that, unfortunately, it has to centralize. The problem is that gold can't achieve transaction finality without the help of a government or a central party, meaning that when gold was operating in a local economy and you can exchange the physical coins with your...
I give him a point for that. He earned his little point for that statement. That is a true statement. Good job, baby man.
Direct counterpart for your butcher, your local tailor, your grocer, whoever you were exchanging with, gold was great. When the world needed to scale an economy and the velocity of money larger than your local economy, gold failed us. Gold failed us because gold is just a bare physical metal. It does not carry a monetary network. What's the gold network? The gold network are human beings. And when you're trying to transact in an economy of billions of people globally, you are reliant on central parties, banks, governments. And it was for that reason that gold failed. And it failed in a way that you can't operate a truly free market when the concentrated supply is with those that you have to trust. And so that's fundamentally what Bitcoin solved, is that you are able to create a scarce bearer instrument and a network that can achieve finality in transactional settlement without the reliance on any government or central party. So that, I think, is extremely, that's...
I get what he's saying, but this is also not true. There is always a central party that comes in and controls majority share. In Bitcoin's case, it's the Chinese.
Really the core issue of why gold's been demonetized since. I think on the points of Bitcoin, like needing more history and it's young. I mean, I think that sounds like a personal problem for you, Peter. Like that, I think you need more evidence And that's you being slow to recognize reality, right? Like if you were to need the internet to prove that email is better than traditional mail, you would just be late to adopting better technology. That doesn't sound like, that's not a point or a criticism against the properties that Bitcoin has. That's your own personal bias of how much proof that you need to adopt something that might be superior. So that's on you. And the last thing I will say on Bitcoin's volatility, for the listeners, I really think it's an important fundamental point. Risk is not the same thing as volatility. Risk refers to the probability of a permanent loss of capital. Risk would be that the Bitcoin code or the Bitcoin network outright fails. You can make an argument that Bitcoin's actually the least risky asset ever because it's the only asset you can store in your head. Bitcoin is, however, extremely volatile. And I will admit that, but that's a pro. Volatility is the frequency or like the magnitude of which the price fluctuates. And so Bitcoin, hold on. I'm almost done. I promise, 30 seconds. The point here, David, is that Bitcoin has to be volatile because the asset is inelastic. Because the asset cannot, with more demand in Bitcoin, you cannot make more supply. More demand has to fundamentally be a higher price. Whereas for all other commodities,
Wrong. There's been a billion cryptos made. I've already hammered in this point. I don't got to repeat it over again unless there's people that are new here. But wrong. There's not only one crypto. There's a million of them, and there's hundreds more every single day. Bitcoin, crypto is not scarce. In fact, it is the opposite.
and all of their assets, with more supply, you can make more demand, which makes them less volatile, but also makes them, I just went over the returns in the data, which also makes the returns not nearly what we're seeing in Bitcoin.
Boy, we wish that shit was scarce. Man, imagine the price of Bitcoin if it was truly scarce and there was no other cryptos. Man, that would be awesome. We would make it. We would have made so much more money than we've made. Damn, man. Imagine if the whole market cap of all the crypto, and I hate market cap. It's really a fuddle. It is so far away from the true number of what the real value is. But man, imagine if it was truly scarce, it was the only crypto, no Ethereum, no Tron, no shitcoins, no Pepe, no whatever. Man, we'd be sitting good right now.
Bitcoin. So Bitcoin volatility is baked into the system because it's a fixed asset. So as it becomes adopted as a money globally, volatility is implied, but volatility is also the only reason that Bitcoin's averaging 100% year over year growth over the last decade, and gold's at 2%. So, and volatility is not risk. Because Bitcoin's volatile, it doesn't make it risky. It makes it an opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Well, you could rewrite the laws of finance, but by definition, volatility is a measure of risk. I mean, if something is very volatile, there's a lot of risk when you hold it because it may drop a lot. I mean, and that precludes it from functioning as a viable medium of exchange, as a unit of account. There's just too much volatility for Bitcoin to actually work as a currency. But
I'm 50-50. I understand both points and I disagree both points. I'm 50-50 on this volatility equaling risk thing. It kind of depends.
I think the risk is actually tremendous for people that hold Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, there's also potential that it could go up and you could get out before it collapses. But I think what you're really overlooking about gold is that gold didn't fail for the reasons that you stated. The reason it got demonetized over time was that politicians didn't want gold because gold stood in the way of their grandiose schemes to buy votes. I mean, gold keeps government honest. It's like the chaperone at the high school prom. But the kids want to get rid of the chaperone because they want to do stuff that the chaperone won't allow. So in order for governments to promise something for nothing and to run big deficits and create inflation, they needed to sever the link between their currencies and gold. And so that's what happened. It wasn't that gold didn't work. Gold worked great. That's why they had to get rid of it so they could do things that gold prevented it from doing. But
I don't disagree with that.
Let Peter finish 1 second.
Let me finish. The world could go on a gold standard. You don't need governments, right? And it doesn't have to be centralized. You can have thousands, hundreds of thousands of independent, privately owned parties that store gold and that issue tokens backed by gold, just like you have 20,000 cryptocurrencies backed by nothing. You can have 20,000 cryptocurrencies backed by something, backed by gold, which would actually give them real value, and then they could be used. But I will agree with you on one thing, that yes, the interesting aspect of Bitcoin is that you don't need any counterpart, any third party to store the Bitcoin, which is ironic because now so many people are buying their Bitcoin through ETFs, which defeats the whole purpose of the Bitcoin in the first place. But I agree. Yes, you and I can transact in Bitcoin. I can send you my Bitcoin, assuming I had any, which I don't. But if I did, I can send them to you. You can send me some. And that's it. No third party has to verify it. There's no custodian that we have to worry about. But what we do have to worry about is something that's much riskier. And that is that the confidence in Bitcoin collapses, and there goes the price, because Bitcoin derives its value from the same way that fiat currency does. It's a belief system. People have to have confidence that people will want it in the future. And if that confidence goes away, then the price crashes. That is a big risk. I would rather take the risk that the counterparty goes bad, because people trust counterparties. That's part of capitalism. It's the beauty of capitalism. You have reputations. You compete for reputations. If people couldn't use counterparties, there'd be no insurance industry. All insurance is based on a counterparty risk. I buy life insurance. I buy fire insurance, auto insurance, health insurance. It's all based on the belief that the counterparty is going to pay the claims.
Yeah, when will we be able to insure our crypto? I'm falling asleep here. This debate's gone cold. Hopefully it picks back up again here. No new points awarded. It's the Turkey Man's up by 1 point so far. No new points awarded. I am falling asleep.
And they work, right? This industry functions well. And so a monetary system based on gold functions well. The fact that you have to trust somebody, that's no big deal. People have been trusting people to hold their gold for centuries, and it works. What I don't want to trust is that a digital string of meaningless numbers that somebody wants to buy today because they think somebody else will pay a higher price. I don't want to put my confidence that that's going to last, that that's more than just a fad, a passing fancy that's here today and is going to be gone tomorrow.
By the way, Peter, there's internet rumors that you say you don't own any Bitcoin, that you actually own Bitcoin and you just want to talk the price down so you can buy more. Can you confirm or deny these conspiracies?
No, I owned some Bitcoin at one point that was gifted to me. I never actually bought any. And I didn't even have a whole Bitcoin. I think I had maybe 30 or 40% of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And the person who created the wallet for me, and that I had an address that I gave out and then I got the gifts.
Sure.
When he did that, he never told me my seed phrase or even the password. I just had the PIN. That's all I had. And I had this PIN. And then one day I woke up and the PIN didn't work. And I even contacted the company that owned the wallet. I mean, there's nothing I could do. The Bitcoin had been lost in cyberspace for years, and I'll never see him again. So that was my one experience. But I mean, look, I at the time, I guess I didn't realize I needed all that stuff. Now I know. So I think that if I bought them again, I could take better care not to lose them.
I like to give
I have no interest in buying it.
Fair enough. I like to give each of you a counter argument based on what you've said. So starting with Jack. Jack, you've said you've highlighted the outperformance of Bitcoin versus gold and pretty much everything else over its last 13-year period. Let me present to you this counter argument. Well, you could take any other thing that has outperformed the stock markets, gold. Let's say Tesla. Tesla has greatly outperformed the stock markets in the last 5 years. It's greatly outperformed gold. Why don't we use Tesla as a form of money? Why is Tesla not a Tesla stock, not a currency? We could, in theory, transport Tesla stock virtually over countries and borders. You know the point I'm making, right? It has a lot of the properties that you talked about, yet we don't consider that money. So the point that just because Bitcoin has outperformed everything else doesn't make it a better form of money. How would you respond?
I think Bitcoin's a better form of money.
This is an easy question to answer. This is a layup. Easy question to answer. Easy question to answer. The point is with crypto and Bitcoin, I can just send it to you, no problem. There just hasn't been built. I can't send a quarter share of Tesla to one of you people right now. Not really so far. That's like two back-to-back questions to a woman's closet. And they kind of been flat. And so I kind of got to take it easy on them.
For the properties that I initiated the conversation with, it's the most credible, neutral, scarcest asset. Scarcity is the base layer of any good, sound money. And so Tesla stock, you have a direct
what about my
relationship
bananas?
with Elon Musk. It's not.
People traded bananas. And so, you know, bananas, by the way, bananas, I only say bananas because today we had a breakthrough. I gave Chelino some little bananas and he ate them today. Chelino ate some banana today.
Its value is not predicated on scarcity, on durability, on portability, on fungibility, on how
No,
saleable.
I haven't watched this. There was a clip on Twitter. This is the first time I'm seeing this shit. I didn't watch this interview.
Liquid it is in the market. Tesla stock is not built and operated to allow neutral parties, even untrusted parties, parties that hate each other, to perform global trade. So Bitcoin is built as a money, and it's the most performant monetary asset because it fulfills all the properties that you want as a money. I think, David, just as a reminder for the audience, money was born out of barter. Money is the market good that you acquire not to consume it, but to exchange it for something later. It's what you take your time and energy, your labor, your effort, and you trade it in so that you can acquire the things that you need in your life at a later point. And Bitcoin was designed and purpose built to fulfill that market good. That is not what Tesla stock was built for. Tesla stock is an investment. Tesla stock is equity in a business. Bitcoin is supposed to be money and the best money of all time. And according to those properties and characteristics, I don't think anything competes with it. I've never seen an argument to where in which some other asset fulfills the properties of money better than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me make a
Wrong. Boy, I know what does. USDT on the Tron TRC20 chain blows Bitcoin away. It's faster, it's better, it's valued at the dollar, blows Bitcoin away. Tron does. Tron blows it away because then that's what the real people use. Ain't no big company, big exchange, nobody, no company. We pay out in USDT on TRC20. We don't pay Bitcoin. If I pay someone in Bitcoin, it's because I'm fucking lazy and I just want to get it over with, and that's what I got in my wallet at the time. So, no, I'm not going to deduct any points, but certainly no points earned.
a
Yeah,
couple
please.
points here. First of all, scarcity in of itself doesn't mean anything. I mean, gold is not valuable because it's scarce. I mean, it has a high price because it's scarce, but its value is not from its scarcity, but from its properties as a metal, right? Gold can do things that other metals and other material can't do. And so there are a lot of places where gold is used because it adds a lot of value. But if you go back to barter, the original idea behind barter was so that when people trade,
Hey, bro, nobody uses Litecoin. Nobody. The only reason why Litecoin ever even had any price action was because it was one of the 3 options on Coinbase. That's it, bro. There's a million cryptos you can send money with. Okay, that's my whole point, and the whole scarcity thing's wrong. But what is used the most with people that matter and entities that matter is USDT on the TRC20 chain. It's the cheapest, it's the fastest, it's the bestest.
they would trade one good for another good, but in the terms of money, it wasn't a good that they necessarily needed, but it was a good that they could trade with somebody else. But ultimately, there was an end user. So when gold became money because of all the properties that Bitcoin copied, people didn't need to use gold. You didn't have to be a jeweler. You didn't have to be a computer chip maker to accept the gold. But ultimately, it was that real demand that allowed it to be money. For example, after the Second World War, or even more recently in prisons, cigarettes are money. People use cigarettes. Now, you don't have to smoke. Not everybody in jail smokes, but people will still take cigarettes as money because they know there's somebody in that jail that smokes. And so eventually,
damn right, he's getting a point for that. 1 point awarded to the turkey roasted man. Turkey based in Butterham. Bam, he nailed that one.
you can trade it around until you get a real smoker who actually uses a cigarette. So that's what gives cigarettes value. Not that they're scarce, but that you can actually enjoy smoking them. And that's why they had value. But you can't smoke Bitcoin, right? You can't do anything with Bitcoin. I mean, you have to be smoking something.
Oh, he gets another point. You can't smoke Bitcoin. You can't eat Bitcoin. You can't be Bitcoin. You can't be Bitcoin. He gets another point. Another point for that. You can't smoke it.
to buy Bitcoin. So it's
Right.
not real money. It fails the test that you think it
Yes.
passes.
Okay,
think-
Bitcoin has no intrinsic value, I think is the argument. What is your response, Jack?
Well, I can't believe I'm arguing this with the Peter Schiff. All value is subjective, David. It's actually the fact that you can't.
Damn, I should have added to this long. I should have added more down here. I shouldn't have pussied out. For now, money flow coming down. Hopefully, we're building some slightly inward curvature here. Money flow, kind of increasing here. Let's pull up the heat map. What's the heat map looking like? Oh, we got heat up here. Let's go to the smaller time frames. All right, hopefully we can get a little price drop and I can add more. I want to add more. Okay.
Can't chew your Bitcoin, put it in a jewelry kit, sponsor it in a music video is a property. It's a pro to the asset. If you had a money that had 10 total units and you were producing 1 unit per year, so that's the stock to flow ratio, the new supply dynamic. Let's just, for example's sake, if you were to take half of that total supply and you were to demonetize it and commercialize it and consume it, that makes it a worse money because now the total money supply of that monetary good is now 5, still being produced at 1 per year. So you don't want to be consuming your money. You want the money to be used for monetary purposes. Money is the market good that you do
Bitcoin
not.
can't.
Hold on, Peter. I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
The money is the market good, David, that you do not consume. You strictly acquire it only to save it and exchange it for things later. It is not because gold is used in Peter's cufflinks that gold is money. Gold is money because it's a hard asset that despite rampant demand, finding new supply has been more difficult. That's why silver was demonetized. So it's actually amazing that I can't put my
mercury is far more scarce than gold, yet the price is much lower because it doesn't have the use case is gold. You can't say that it has value just because it is. Its value comes from all of the things that we use it for. And the reason that gold is a store of value is because the gold that I have today, in 1,000 years, it can still be used for all the things that it can be used for today. In fact, more, because we're discovering new uses for gold all the time. And the gold that we dig out of the ground today and put in a safe can be used in 1,000 years for whatever people need gold to do. That's what gives it the value in the present. It's the future value of all that use. But you don't know what Bitcoin is going to be. It's just a digital token. There's tens of thousands of them. And who knows what new cryptocurrency.
You don't know what to say, boy. He's getting smacked. I don't know. Peter's kind of turkey man's running away now. He's 3 points ahead. He's running away. And I wonder when that clip's going to start where he starts doing the Vogue thing and starts switching. So I think this might start heating up soon. We're almost at the halfway point. We might see some saltiness come out. He's kind of slapping him around, though, I'm not going to lie. But man in woman's closet has had a couple shitty questions, and so we'll see.
To the extent that people want to invent new ones. I mean, can you think of one example in human history where something that man made, man did not later make better? I mean, gold was made by God, right? It's here from the Big Bang. But humans created Bitcoin, and they can create something better than Bitcoin. I mean, the first airplane was not the best airplane. The first automobile was not the best automobile. The first computer was not the best computer. The first cell phone, the first television. Everything we've made it better. So
point awarded to Turkey Man. He's starting to run away. Jack's gonna have to come back talking about the woman's closet if he's got a chance.
Think, oh well, Bitcoin is going to be money forever or whatever it is. Well, somebody comes up with something else in the future that people like better, and then what the hell's Bitcoin work? It's nothing. It's like it's gone.
I'm going to give one counter argument to Peter because I've done that.
I added to the position just because random guy in the chat said so. It came down a little bit. We're at 5.3 million. We've locked in 30,000, 29,000 realized. We're at 34,000, almost 35. So I'll pepper in a little bit more. And he's smiling because he's getting them right now. You can see he's going to have to start pulling out the woman's closet.
For Jack. And then I'll let Jack respond. Peter, your claim that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value, doesn't do anything, therefore the price is just, made up by the market. Can the same argument be applied to gold though? Because gold, as you know, is
Come
not
on, he just spent the last 2 minutes talking about this, bro. He just spent the last 2 minutes answering this question, man.
stock. It's not a company that generates cash flow. You can't DCF it. You can't model out its future projected earnings and provide an NPV. Its value is determined by the market. Is it not the same thing? How would you respond?
Well, first of all, I agree gold is not an investment. That's why I don't compare gold to stocks or real estate or anything else that is capable of generating a return. Now, in theory, you could loan out your gold and you can generate interest on the gold, just like you could loan out a bank deposit, right? And that's what people do to earn interest on their cash. But I compare gold, which is real money, to government-created alternatives, fiat currency, and gold is certainly better. It's a much better store of value, than any fiat currency. When the Federal Reserve was first created, you only needed $20 to buy an ounce of gold. And that's how many dollars you needed to buy an ounce of gold in 1789 when we ratified the Constitution. But once we got the federal government to print money, dollars have lost better than 99% of their value against gold. But I've heard a lot of people say, well, Bitcoin and gold, it's the same thing. It's all faith. Gold doesn't have any value either. It's just because we think it does. We believe it does. It's all subjective. And that's a bunch of nonsense. We know gold has value. It had value before it became money. If it didn't have value, it never would have become money. I mean, gold's been used for thousands of years. It was used before it was money as a commodity. But gold has undeniable physical characteristics that are unique, rare, and extremely valuable where gold is used. In fact, gold would be used a lot more if the price was lower, but it's not. It's so scarce and valuable that it is only used where it's the highest and best used. To the extent,
I guess he's right about it. Would be used more if the price was lower in like electronics and shit. So I was gonna say probably not, but no, he's right. If the price was cheaper, yes, it would be used more, but nothing new to see here, and we're starting to see the Vogue thing where he's getting a little flustered. Look at that face. Look at that face. He's getting a little flustered in the woman's closet. Come on, man. Come on, buddy. What you gonna do? He's gonna have to come back with some shit. But I'm telling you, these Bitcoin guys, they only have the same two, maybe even three, but really it's the same two arguments, and they just say the same thing over and over and over and over.
that you can substitute a different metal that's not as expensive, even though it's not as good, it'll still get the job done. And so it's more cost effective. But no, gold's value doesn't depend on what I believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. It's going to be value regardless of my opinion of it. But Bitcoin, it's all about belief and confidence. There is no real user for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops, there's no one that's going to say, "Oh, let me buy some extra Bitcoin because I need it." Like a jeweler might, or a chip company might need the gold to make their products. Nobody needs Bitcoin to make anything. I mean, you buy it because you think the price is going to go up. But if you don't,
yeah, I mean, that's true. I'm not going to give him a point, but that's what a currency that's what really a fiat currency is, which is what Bitcoin pretty much is. It is a fiat currency. And so no points awarded, but he's kind of right. It's whatever our perceptive value is. You know what I'm saying? You can't eat Bitcoin. You can't smoke Bitcoin. You can't build Bitcoin. So he's right. No points added though.
don't think the price is going to go up, there's no reason to buy it. And everybody that owns Bitcoin is going to be selling it, right? They have to. If they want to buy stuff, they're not going to be able to buy it with Bitcoin. They're going to have to convert their Bitcoin into dollars or euros.
I need to brush my teeth. I haven't. Oh, look at that. This is how we're feeling, boy. That's how we feel. This. Oh my God. Someone, we gotta snap this. This needs to be memed. This needs to be memed. This needs to be memed. In the meme time, I need to brush my. No! Where were we? Where were we? No. What happened? Where were we?
Bitcoin is like a Ponzi. Young people don't know what
use. To the extent that you could substitute a different metal that's not as expensive, even though it's not as good, it's just repackaged on the internet. Nobody needs Bitcoin to make anything. I mean, you buy it because you think the price is going to go up. But if you don't think the price is going to go up, there's no reason to buy it. And, everybody that owns Bitcoin is going to be selling it, right? They have to. If they want to buy stuff, they're not going to be able to buy it with Bitcoin. They're going to have to convert their Bitcoin into dollars or euros or pounds or whatever. So all the buyers are eventually going to be sellers. There needs to be new buyers to come in to make that possible. But I think that you're going to run out, just like any pyramid scheme, Ponzi, chain letter. All
right, listen. I need to brush my teeth. My breath smells, and I'm flabbergasted mouth. I'll be right back. Boy, I tell you, this is some good. Okay, we're getting a little bit of wind back in our sails. I'm kind of passing out. My head has hit the microphone like 3 times. I keep having to loosen and retighten the microphone stand because I keep falling asleep on the damn thing. I'm not joking when I'm saying these things. I'm just letting you know I keep falling asleep. And my breath fucking stinks. I keep smelling my own breath in this microphone. So I'm going to go brush my teeth. We're going to take a brief intermission. Take a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Let me brush my teeth. Stinks. Smells. Smell it. Alrighty. Alrighty. right. Let's go Cowboys, baby. Let's go Cowboys, baby. Cowboys cashed in. Thank you, Steve Stevens. Shout out Steve Stevens, boy. I never like betting. I tell you, there's a lot of teams that you never like betting on. Cowboys, one of them teams. But I put the bet in, cashed it. Let's go, Steve Stevens. Okay, here. I grabbed some pretzels. Hang on here. I got some pretzels. Good. All righty. Wow. All right. I brushed my teeth, and now my microphone doesn't smell as bad. So, all right. We got pretzels. Do I have my drink? I got my coffee. Let's continue. So far, Turkey Man is up 8-4. And woman's closet ain't looking, bro. Put some shit in the fucking closet, man. We know you live in a woman's closet. It's like the Cardanzo Hodgkinson's not playing in his own poker tournament because he's too scared to lose. You can put some shit in your closet, bro. No, everyone's gonna think the same of you, bro. Put some shit in your fucking closet.
Call Bitcoin a blockchain letter, because it's got the same characteristics of a chain letter, except it's on the blockchain. That's what's new about it, right? It's the same old scheme that doesn't work. It's just repackaged on the internet for the modern day. And you have a lot of young, smart people like Jack, and I have a lot of respect for Jack. He's a smart kid, and not even a kid anymore, man, and he's done very well for himself. And I appreciate that, but I think he's just got this wrong. I think there's a lot of young people. The new generation always thinks their parents don't know what they're talking about, or their great grandparents. I mean, this is happening throughout history. But I think as the young generation gets older, they'll learn from this mistake, and they'll be in my position at some point when the next fad comes around, and people are saying, oh, you're just an old fogey, you don't get it,
An old fuck. He's right. Man, how many more points does this man need to earn? I was like, now he's winning so bad. I'll give him half a point because now it looks like I'm biased. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, what score do you guys have? Am I wrong? I made my bones in this shit. And I try to be, even though we have fun, but the kid's getting dusted. Let's be honest. He's getting dusted right now. That's what happens when you have the same two arguments for 10 years. You just use the same shit. Granted, a couple questions kind of been weak. The Turkey Man's also been talking a lot more. He's got a lot more facts and shit to go on. So, he's definitely kicking ass.
So they'll remember all this, and they'll remember the things that I said, and they'll try using that same wisdom, which is something that you acquire when you get older.
Before I move on to the next,
old people don't always get things right. Not always, but most of the time. And how come old people typically are, have more knowledge, they're more successful? Okay, let me ask you that. Let's say if you have a business, okay, and you take a 60-year-old man versus a 25-year-old man to make important decisions. Let's say they have like equal, whatever. The 60-year-old man is going to make better decisions than the 25-year-old man. most of the time. That's just a matter of fact. Just a matter of fact. You know what I'm saying?
Next topic.
They're kids.
All right. Before I move on to the next topic, I'm going to let Jack respond, and then we'll move on. So, Jack, please respond to the claim Bitcoin is like a Ponzi. Young people don't know what they're doing, but focus on the Ponzi part. Yeah.
Which claim? I mean, so much comes out of his mouth and not much. It's hard. So listen,
Like what? Apparently it's hitting you real hard, boy. Let's see. We see what you were just looking like a minute ago. Did you see the face a minute ago? Now he's just saying nothing. I think he's been a lot's been coming up. Then you start talking more, bro. Then give us this knowledge. Give us the knowledge then in a woman's closet.
I agree. Let me, for the audience, it's very true. Scarcity is not the sole property for a good money, right? Think of a Van Gogh painting, David. Van Gogh painting isn't divisible. It isn't portable. It is scarce. It's not very censorship resistant, right? So it isn't just about finding something that's definitively scarce. I said scarcity is the base layer of a sound money, but it needs to have durability, portability, fungibility. It needs to be saleable. It needs to be censorship resistant. It needs to be liquid. It needs to be all of these things. So just to be clear, I agree with Peter on that. All of his claims against Bitcoin are the same with gold. Again, like, what's the confidence that someone will value Bitcoin tomorrow? What's the confidence someone will value gold tomorrow? Gold is not used as a money because you can put it in cufflinks. Gold is used as a money for the monetary properties I just went over. So that is,
which is what he's wrong. He's wrong about that. Totally wrong about that.
absolutely true. Again, value is subjective, meaning, David, if I were to say, hand me your cell phone, I'll keep it in the physical form that that Peter values so much. So physically, your phone wouldn't change, but I'm going to wipe all the data. I'm going to delete all your emails, all of your photos, all of your file storage, all of your passwords. You would probably say, no, that's a value to me. You're subjectively valuing something that's digital and isn't physically real. So that's not a real argument to make that it has to be physical and we have to be able to put it in cufflinks.
Not true. Doesn't have to be. I think he's gonna. Ooh, look at him. He's about to get him. Look at. Hang on. Look at that face. Oh, look at that face. He is ready. I'm telling you, he's looking like a Hatfield and McCoy. He's looking like John McCoy, Jim McCoy. He's ready to blow a motherfucker's ass off. He's ready to, I'm telling you, if you're held at gunpoint and their face looks like this, you better stick and move. You better make a move because there's going to be no mercy coming. So I think he's about to get roasted right now. Something physical doesn't have to have a value. It just, you're talking different when you're talking about it's everything's different. So is Bitcoin. I'm going to shut up.
In order for it to be a monetary good or be of any value. If I were to say, hold on, Peter, if I were to say, David, I'm going to sell you a bottle of water for 50 cents, you say, okay, that sounds like a fair deal. But if I say you need this bottle of water to survive because you're so parched and it's going to cost you your entire net worth, you're going to buy the water because you want to live. So
that statement in itself is true, but I don't understand where he's going with. Let's see.
You know, in an economy, people make decision at the margins. Value is subjective.
I see what he's saying. Because that does add value to the currency of being able to send it without no government shit, without no shit in between. So he's right about that. We're going to help him out. I'll give, a point to the baby man. The young man finally earned another point. Good job.
What you want in a money is the monetary good that's best at being money, that's best at being the market good to both save your money through time, your value through time, and be able to exchange your value and money through space. And so all of his arguments, like they're almost like ad hominem attacks. They're not real arguments. Yes, adopting a money is an entrepreneurial endeavor for everything. You can take your labor, David, today for this podcast, and you can exchange it for a loaf of bread. You can exchange it for a Derek Jeter signature. You can exchange it for Bitcoin, gold, euros, dollars. That is your decision. And
typical New Yorker. Now I know. Now that explains a lot. The kid's from New York, and he lives in New York, doesn't he? Does he live in New York? He lives in New York, doesn't he? Bah! Fucking New Yorkers.
you are at risk of the market not agreeing with your assessment tomorrow. That's true for everything. And the last problem with Peter's arguments is that he's wrong according to the market. Peter and I can sit here and argue all the time, but money emerges as a market good from the free market. And the market elects the money that is best at being money. And if you look at the data historically, Bitcoin's won at being money every single year. And so like Peter can sit here and make these claims that I'm young and that he's old, which I think is hilarious. Maybe it's why he's slower to adopting technology. But the problem is, David, that the market.
You know what I'll say is here's one thing, is Peter hasn't insulted him. Peter, like when he's talking about young and stuff, he's talking about like other people, but he's never called. He said, "You're young, you're dumb, you're like," and he has insulted. He's been insulting Peter. It's a dick move. The kid in the woman's closet, it's almost worth taking a point away. I mean, there's really no point in it, bro. Just defend the abate. You say you look up to the guy and all the shit, but this is like the third or fourth time he's throwing fucking insults, kind of nasty ones too. Pretty nasty.
Market, which is the real judge of what the good money is. Bitcoin's been crowned every single year. So I just I don't even know how to respond to a lot of this.
Right,
well,
we know he doesn't know how to respond. That's obvious. It's been obviously you don't know how to respond. And you can't just keep falling back on the tulip. Money decided the tulips were valuable, and then it went away. Bitcoin's had 10 years, and it's really the first 5 or 6, the first 5 years, that's where you had the multi-1,000%. I'm telling you, the Bitcoiners, they take a very small sliver of the chart, and they really, extend it out. They really try to base all of their arguments on that. I'm telling you, it's a horrible thing.
I know how to respond to what you just said. So, but first of all,
all right. I'll give him a half a point. He's going to be at 9. While he's looking at his phone.
I am making valid arguments. You're just not acknowledging it. And, you talked about.
His aneurysms are they're bad, man. They're bad. Looking at his phone, like whatever he's about to say, he's not listening. That's why he hasn't been able to address him and really like pick him up, try to, or at least attempt to pick Peter apart. He just keeps, the only times he has is when he insults him. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. We can do better than this.
About my bias. Well, you've got a lot of bias too. I mean, you're very biased with respect to Bitcoin, and it's almost like a cognitive dissonance that, your mind is made up and you don't want to actually acknowledge these arguments. And, you can accuse me of the same thing. So I don't want to talk about, who's stubborn or who's biased. I'm just looking at the facts.
So let's look at the market. So what's the market saying?
I'm getting to that. So you're saying Bitcoin has won as money. No, it hasn't. It's won as a speculative asset that nobody uses as money. I think more companies were advertising that they accepted Bitcoin in 2017 than now. I mean, Bitcoin.
True. Damn, he's right about that. I didn't even think of that. True. And you know what? You know what has stayed? We buy gold commercials and signs. He's got a point about that. And I know we're not supposed to compare the two, but if you want to compare the two, we buy gold signs have always had commercials and always been around since the dawn of Bitcoin, and that hasn't changed. There ain't shit for fucking, that's damn, that's a good one. Point for him.
Point, nowhere do I see, I don't go into any stores, and I'm in Puerto Rico now where there's a lot of you Bitcoiners around me. I mean, it's not like people here aren't in Bitcoin, but I don't go into any stores where they say, here, pay in Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is not winning as money. So your argument is it's been a good performing speculative asset. I will grant you that. If you bought it a long time ago, it's been a good performing speculative asset, but it hasn't performed at all as money, not even close. People aren't using it. They're using dollars, they're using euros. People are using, you have a company with payments. I mean, your payments, when people go to the store to buy stuff, they're not paying in Bitcoin. And you know that. So to say that it's won as money is just not true. But getting to your scarcity, when I talk about scarcity,
If that wasn't true, this boy should come back and say, yes, if it was true, he would have replied and said, yes, it is. 70%, 80% of the transactions on Strike are with Bitcoin or whatever the fuck. But he's not. He's staying silent, man. I mean, damn, dude. Damn. That was a good point he made on damn Turkey Man. The Turkey Man is roasting even more. He's still cooking. And he's not even, he's crispy. He crispy.
Scarcity. Yes, a Van Gogh painting is not going to function as money, but it has value. Part of the value comes from the scarcity, but most of the value comes from the fact that Van Gogh painted it. And Van Gogh is a historic figure recognized as one of the greatest painters that ever existed. I don't know how many Van Goghs exist, you know, whether there's 100 of them, 200, I don't really know the quantity, right? But I know this, I can paint a Peter Schiff original, and it could be the only one I ever paint. It could be far more scarce than all the Van Goghs. Yet I can't sell it for hardly anything. Doesn't matter how scarce my original painting is, because who cares about a Peter Schiff painting, right? I'm not Van Gogh. So it's not just that it's scarce, it's to own a Van Gogh, to hang a Van Gogh, there's a lot of pride in that. There's a lot of enjoyment that comes out of having a very scarce, valuable painting that was painted hundreds of years ago by one of the most famous artists who have ever lived, right? There's value there among art collectors who value that. And when you have a lot of money and you got to figure out, hey, what am I going to do? I've got billions of dollars. What can I do? I'll buy some of these great works of art, and I can hang it up in my study, and I can show it to my friends, or just enjoy the beauty of this painting on a personal level.
Let me ask you some questions, Peter.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is scarce in the sense that there's 21 million of them, but so what? It's just a string of numbers. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing that it does that's any different.
Clip. Hang on. Here's the clip. Hang on. It finally. Wait. What's it? 4606. Okay. He did the head switch for people that are just joining. Okay. I'm gonna ask you. I should put it to a poll. Is this worth a point deduction? His little pinky in the booty hole head switch.
21 million of them. But so what? It's just a string of numbers. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing that it does that's any different than all the other strings of numbers of all the other cryptocurrencies. In fact, there's 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. I mean, there's enough Satoshis for everybody to have hundreds of thousands of them. You can't do anything more with a Bitcoin than you can with a Satoshi, which is nothing. And I never said that something has to be tangible to have value. Intangible assets, software is valuable, music, all kinds of things that you can't physically touch have value because of the things that they can do and the benefits that I derive from using them. But that is not true about Bitcoin. The only benefit people hope to derive from Bitcoin is getting rich when it goes to the moon. And in order for that to happen, more people have to be foolish enough to buy it. And that's all it is. It's just an exercise in the greater fool. And yes, so far, the price is still, 56,000 or something like that.
He gets a point. I know we saw this one coming, but he gets a point for the non-tangible. Doesn't have to be tangible for value. Music, IP. It's 11-5. 11 Turkey Man. He's running away. He's running away.
And people made money, but I think more people who own Bitcoin now have lost money than made money as far as the numbers. Because I think a lot of the money came in.
We should give him another point for that. He might get another point for that. That's what happens when you spit facts, man. Everyone I know, that's like that. Like, just when their average person texts you, fucking, everyone fucking gets wrecked. I'll give him a half a point because I feel bad for the McCluskey kid. Let's look at his face real quick. Oh, fuck.
At the top. And so they're losing money. And the next big crash that's...
Look, he's you don't know what to say. You can't say anything, so you just gotta look weird. I don't know, man. Oh, come on, McCluskey kid.
Coming, and I think there is a big crash coming, especially when we get a lot of liquidations out of the ETFs. I think that's still coming.
Damn, look how sharp his nose is. Did you see that? Hang on. 47.25.
Especially when we get a lot of liquidations out of the...
Oh, my Lord. Holy Lordy, this looks fake. This is the most aerodynamic. That is like a Cutco knifed nose. I could slice a piece of meat off that damn thing. That boy's got a hell of a nose. Slice some cheese for me, buddy. Can you cut this bread? Cut this turkey. Damn, that is the sharpest nose I've ever seen. Sharp.
The ETFs, I think that's still coming. I don't think
I'm gonna give him a half a point for that.
the people in the ETFs are dyed in the wool hodlers. They're traders. And they're gonna take their losses and move on. And I think there's going to be a massive crash in Bitcoin when that happens. Whether that's the ultimate bottom, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a bounce. But I think Bitcoin is going to go below 20,000, probably below 10,000 when you get this big liquidation. And then almost everybody who owns Bitcoin will be down. And yes, you'll be able to make the argument that had you bought it in 2010 and 2011 or 12, you're still way ahead. But that doesn't do any good to the people who bought it in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, who bought it with real money. Most people who bought Bitcoin, back then, bought it with play money. People weren't putting their retirement savings into Bitcoin when it first showed up. But you have a lot of that's happened now. So a lot more money has been invested at much higher prices than what was invested, in the early years when the price was much lower.
Okay, Jack, you had a question, and then we have to move on.
Well, do you mind if I reply? My problem with a lot of this is Peter's painting these like doomsday scenarios. I'm trying to, no jokes, no fighting.
What?
Here, but it's
trying no jokes, no fighting yet, bro. Come on, kid. You've been the one attacking him. He's been the one attacking him. No jokes, no fighting. He hasn't said any jokes, and he hasn't tried to personally attack him at all. That's been one way. That's been one way, man. Man.
Impossible to argue with like doomsday.
And he's only said that he hasn't been talking about doomsday. He hasn't. He just said it this one time. He just said he thinks the price is going to go below 20,000 or 10,000. That's not doomsday. He didn't say he thinks the price of Bitcoin is going to go to zero. He hasn't said that there's no place for Bitcoin. That's not doomsday. It might be doomsday for us. You know what I'm saying? Or if you hold a shit ton of Bitcoin, doomsday to you doesn't mean that shit. If Bitcoin's at 10 grand, it still works perfectly fine. He hadn't said nothing about doomsday.
Scenarios where what if the world ends tomorrow, then everything that you know of and believe in. So, but the problem, Peter, is you've been claiming that for over a decade now, and you've been consistently wrong. So people can make their own judgments as to whether this time you're right. And I'll leave it at that, but it's hard to argue because those aren't like claims against the properties of money or anything of substance. They're just hyperbolic predictions of the future. On the value of money, again, David, the audience, money is valuable as a money if it can be scarce, if it can be durable, portable, resistant to censorship, saleable, liquid. These are the properties. If a money can achieve that. So when Peter says it has a limit of 21 million, who cares? The market cares because it is an asset that despite more and more demand, nobody can find more supply. That is insanely valuable, so valuable that it's been the most performant asset in the history of humanity.
But not money.
Hold on, Peter. It's the only asset that's been able to achieve that property, David. So again, a money doesn't need to be in a cufflink. It doesn't need to be hung on a wall. It needs to achieve the properties of a money which allow it. Now, the questions I would have for Peter.
It's got to circulate as a medium of exchange. It's got to be a unit of account. Bitcoin is none of that.
Okay,
let me ask you, if Peter, does a money need to be accepted at the store? So if like Papa John's does not accept a certain asset, would you then disqualify it as money? Which
I got a phone call. Give me 1 second. Hello, dear. You know I'm live streaming right now, right? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I know you know I'm live streaming. I'm fine. All right,
you sure it is not something that you wanted? You sound awfully sweet. I figured there might be something you were gonna ask me to buy. I know you. I know you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We can play. I won't be streaming much longer. Maybe like another 30 minutes or so. I don't know. No, all right. Okay. All righty. Bye.
All right, I'm back.
Would mean
Yeah,
gold
money
and
has to
Bitcoin.
be acceptable as a medium of exchange. Yes.
Okay, so gold is not money either.
Gold is not being used as money today other than by central banks. Gold has been demonetized and it's mainly a commodity, but it can be accepted. I mean, I would certainly accept gold, just like you would probably accept Bitcoin. But if somebody wanted to buy something from me and pay in gold, I'd be happy to take it. But gold is not functioning as money right now, even though it historically has been money. We've had
What was
about the
gold?
last 50 years where gold has not been money ever since 1971. When Nixon, closed the gold window. But before that, gold was acting as money because it was backing up the currencies that were circulating. And what gave legitimate currency value was the gold, the money that backed it up. But right now, gold is not served as being used as money, but it's been used as money in the past. For hundreds of years or thousands of years, gold was money. Bitcoin has never been used as money. It's only existed for, a little over a dozen years. But during its existence,
That's kind of not true. We use Bitcoin as I use Bitcoin as money. From time to time, I've bought things with Bitcoin before, so I have used Bitcoin as money. I have used Bitcoin as money. So, yeah.
It may have been
This pose really bothers me. This whole putting my head on the hand, I'm a little boy thing, man. Man, we got to change something.
used early on by on the black market, Silk Road. I mean, some kind of illicit transactions. They might have accepted Bitcoin back in the beginning, but it's not used as money. It's what you've described it. It's being held, hoarded as a speculative asset. So people buy Bitcoin the way somebody might buy Tesla stock, which you mentioned. They think the price is going to go up. Now, Tesla is an actual business that has earnings. So there's, I think, more reason to believe that Tesla might appreciate over time than Bitcoin, when Bitcoin is just based on the greater fool buying it at a higher price. But yes, there are more people today that own Bitcoin than owned it 10 years ago, right? So you've succeeded in growing the number of people who are in this casino betting on Bitcoin. But that's what they're doing. I mean, the people who own Bitcoin are not spending it, and merchants are not trying to accumulate it in exchange for their goods. Prices are not in Bitcoin, and transactions are not in Bitcoin because it doesn't work. It's too slow.
Well, I will say that prices are not in gold either. So, but I mean, maybe he's like trying to argue like a different topic or something. I don't know. Prices are in dollars. Let's be real. Prices are in dollars of everything. But well, that's just me.
It's too expensive and it's too volatile, right?
Okay, Jack.
And you would acknowledge all that.
Jack, hang on to that thought, please, gentlemen. I'd like to move on to the country adoption aspect. So we know what happened with El Salvador. There's been speculation that something similar could, I'm not saying will, could happen in the U.S. Trump has on the campaign trail said he wants to implement a Bitcoin strategic reserve should he be elected.
So, as the final part of my plan today, I am announcing that if I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. I hope you do well, please. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. As you know,
I'd like to get your response to this. This is Senator Cynthia Loomis's bill. her proposed Bitcoin strategic reserve legislation. I'll just read a few bullet points from this bill. Establish a decentralized network of secure Bitcoin vaults operated by the United States Treasury. Implement a 1 million unit Bitcoin purchase program over a set period of time. Be paid for by diversifying existing funds within the Federal Reserve System and Treasury Department. Affirm self-custody rights of private Bitcoin holders and emphasize that the strategic Bitcoin reserve shall not infringe upon individual financial freedoms. Okay, I've heard pros and cons of this bill by both Bitcoin and anti-Bitcoiners. Even pro-Bitcoiners I've talked to have stood against this bill. Anyway, I'll let you comment on this, starting with Jack. What's your response to when this came out earlier this summer?
I mean, I think it's a phenomenal idea, but I think it's a phenomenal idea because I think every individual, corporation, government should own Bitcoin. Again, if it fulfills the properties of money and it is the scarcest asset in the history of mankind, then you have a self-interest, no matter if you're a government, business.
My Lord, the scarcest asset in the history of mankind. Give me a break, kiddo. Give me a break, bro. My gosh.
Individual or whoever to own it. I want the United States of America to own the scarcest asset of all time before any of our counterparts, before the people that we may go to war with. Like, I have a self-interest in my country owning some slice of the 21 million. And I think it's a phenomenal idea because the other reason, David, is that Bitcoin, again, 63% year over year over the last 10 years. And if you want to go since the beginning of its history, then it's over 150%, close to 200%. What does the United States have a problem of? Not enough growth in relation to its debt, right? Debt to GDP is the metric, not just GDP. Bitcoin, you can literally buy growth off the shelf. It's ridiculous. So I want the United States to own the fastest growing market good in the history of mankind and the scarcest market good in the history of mankind. Why would I not want that for my country? So I think it's inevitability that countries will adopt it, just like it was that businesses adopted, just like it was that individuals adopted. It's only very logical. And, it's, again,
I disagree. It's not the fastest growing anymore. Maybe it was in the first couple of years, just like Prime. I think I'd like my government to own a bunch of Prime because it was the fastest growing drink. That shit has hella slowed down. Sales have slowed way down, gone way down. You can only, like I said, man, how many decisions can you make off of a sliver, a 5-year window of price action, compared to hundreds of years, thousands of years of data on everything else, man. It's just, when the root is the problem, the flower is with the roots. You got to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem.
Markets, money emerges from the market, and people aren't stupid. Despite what anyone says on shows and TV and their biases, markets adapt to what's real and what's true. And the market listens to data and is performant based on real facts and real history. And so I think the United States is saying, man, this thing's the best.
Son of a bitch, I was muted. I was responding to the pencil neck in the chat who said, so market cipher doesn't make people money. And you're going way out of context here, Bucko, way out of context. And here's what I was saying. I'm not saying the American government should buy a bunch of market cipher memberships. Okay? Two totally different things, dude. But here's what I will say. If we were to do a poll, which we have done before, and maybe I'll do one again here in the Discord, of let's say, we do a question like, do you think Market Cipher has improved your trading? Probably 8 out of 10 people. We'll even say let's even say 7 out of 10 will say yes, it has. That number hadn't changed. It's been the same damn number since the beginning to today. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not comparing shit. Get the fuck out of here. Pencil neck. You must be a friend of woman's closet, kid.
Perform an asset in the
Oh shit, look at the price of this right now. Damn, should we take some profits right now? Let's take a look at this price action here. Let's take a look. Yeah, if you had the choice between what should I buy and hold just for a value, not to trade with, right? If you want, I would obviously say, yeah, Market Cipher, you want to improve your trading, but for physical value, if you were going to buy it and do nothing, what would be more valuable? A gold bar of however, let's say $600 worth of gold, or a 1-year membership, or even a lifetime membership of Market Cipher. The price of Market Cipher isn't going to go up. It's going to go down. So you can't compare that shit. You're wrong. I'm right. 1 point to me, 0 points for you. Let's see here. Let's look at the heat map here. $55.57. We got some time. It'll take a break at 55.4. 55.4. So maybe yoink some profits at 55.365. Let's do. I'll tell you what. 55.361 and shit. Due to close. We'll do 20%. 55.361. Boom. Okay, so okay. All righty.
history of mankind, we should probably have some as a strategic reserve, which is what they're calling it.
Peter, I'll let you respond to this bill. I'll leave it up in case you need to revisit some of these bullet points. Yeah, what do you think of this?
Well, I mean, it's a bunch of nonsense. I mean, first of all, businesses haven't adopted it. I mean, speculators have adopted it. Some of them, I'll grant you that. But look, I have no problem with Jack buying all the Bitcoin he wants, and I'm a free market guy. You know, people are free to make mistakes, and if they want to buy Bitcoin, go ahead, right? But I don't want the government to buy Bitcoin with my tax money. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't believe in Bitcoin. We all pay taxes. Why should the government take our tax dollars and just decide to buy up Bitcoin? I mean, they might as well.
Well, I tell you, I have to disagree. This country needs more ways to make money, and I'd rather have our country buy some shitter Bitcoin or even some shit coins over sending it to other countries, giving it to invaders that are coming into our country. So comparatively, yeah, I'd rather them buy some fucking Bitcoin. This country needs a way. For example, like there's a couple states in the United States where they take one industry and that's their industry to make money with. For example, Utah. They've taken the liquor business in Utah. Now the drinks are all exactly 1 ounce or 1.5 ounces a shot, but now there's lower taxes. The downside is, well, now there's no private business. You know, a couple liquor salesmen are out of a job, but it's worth it because the state makes money, so they can take less from the people. They take less from the people. I think that's kind of a good way to go about things. The country should take over one industry. Maybe, you know what industry really pays is drugs. Drugs. Start pushing it through the mail, through the mayo. Start selling drugs. And then we know it's, good drugs, and they make money off it, and they take less taxes from us. Let the dope fiends get their dope and take less money away from families and people.
We'll just pick a penny stock and buy it, as opposed to just pick Bitcoin and buy that. And of course, the government is already broke. They have to go into debt to buy Bitcoin. And it makes no sense to create more inflation to go out and buy Bitcoin. Now, I know why some people who own Bitcoin want the U.S. government to buy it. They're saying this bill requires the U.S. government to buy a million Bitcoin, right? 5% of the supply. And I know that people want that because they think that if the U.S. government comes in and buys up a bunch of Bitcoin, the price of the Bitcoin that they already own will go up. And I think this is kind of like a government bailout for Bitcoin. I mean, a lot of Bitcoiners realize that they're running out of individuals that are dumb enough to buy Bitcoin. So now let's get the politicians to do it because it's not even their money, right? It's somebody else's money. But we don't need a strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's nothing strategic about Bitcoin. We're never going to run out of Bitcoin and need to have more of it. The whole thing is nonsense. But obviously, politicians want two things. They want votes and they want money. And a lot of Bitcoiners have money thanks to the big gain. And there's a lot of them that could vote. And so it makes sense to me that politicians who care most about getting reelected, and to do that, you need money and votes, that they're going to pander to a special interest group. And I think the crypto group is a great, risk reward, because there's probably a lot of people that would be a single issue voter. Whichever side promises to buy up a bunch of Bitcoin and make me rich, just like somebody promises to forgive a student loan. If I got a lot of student loans, that's my candidate. Whoever's going to forgive my debt, they got my vote, right? If I'm a single issue voter, you can get a lot of votes by pandering to the Bitcoiners. But what's great about it is you don't necessarily lose any votes, because the people who don't own Bitcoin probably couldn't care less. They don't even pay attention. It's not divisive like pro-life, pro-choice, where you take a pro-life position and you lose the pro-choice. You take a pro-choice and you lose the pro-life. It's, you take pro-Bitcoin and you don't lose anti-Bitcoin. They don't even care. So it's a great issue for a politician to embrace. But I don't know, campaign promises get broken. I doubt that bill that Senator Luma introduced is ever going to go anywhere. I don't think there's going to be a Bitcoin reserve. All Donald Trump promised to do was not sell the Bitcoin that the U.S. government has. And I think before he takes office, whatever Bitcoin the government has are going to be sold by the Biden-Harris administration, so it won't even be there. So even if he wanted to hold it, it won't be there. But, I agree with what Trump said when he was president, when he said it was a scam, it was a fraud, it was a Ponzi. Now that he's a candidate for president, all of a sudden, he's done the flip-flop. But, a lot of other people who initially criticized Bitcoin, the minute they had a financial interest to support it, like a Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, as soon as he got paid off by Bankman-Fried, all of a sudden he liked it. And that a lot of people have been corrupted by the money. And I think, Trump, that's one of the things I disagree with Trump on, his Bitcoin stance. But, again, I recognize it for what it is. He's trying to get votes and donations, and he's succeeding.
Okay, Jack, let me ask you this. Peter said he doesn't...
Real quick, David.
Sure, yeah,
I just
go ahead.
think I'm really glad you brought this up, because I think it's a phenomenal example of Peter. So Peter just actually doesn't know the proposal at all. He's claiming that it would use tax dollars, but that's not the proposal. The proposal is to use excess reserves at all the Fed banks. And the reason this is such a great example is I don't think Peter understands Bitcoin or understands
That's not the proposal.
That's absolutely
the proposal is. They want to revalue the gold.
Weak ass argument, bro. Come on. The kid's had so much time to think about what he's going to say while the roasted turkey's yapping his mouth, and he's shooting blanks, man. God, he's shooting blanks so bad. It's tough to watch. Falling asleep again.
That the U.S. government holds from $42 an ounce to the market price, and then have the Federal Reserve print up all that extra money and give it to the government to buy Bitcoin. The source of the money to buy the Bitcoin is inflation. It's an expansion of the supply of U.S. dollars in circulation, and then using those dollars to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I read it. That's where it comes from.
Right. So it's not tax dollars. It's not.
Yes, it's inflation. Inflation is a tax. If the government is going to print
Okay,
money
yeah.
and
But if
use it to
you-
buy Bitcoin,
I don't-
it is
yeah, but-
increasing the circulation of
I
money.
think
It's
we're-
creating inflation.
Peter, I
That's
don't
the
disagree.
tax.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
but if
I think we're
everyone on-
arguing semantics on taxes here, but yeah.
But everyone's going to rewind this clip and listen to that. Peter said, everyone in this country pays taxes. I don't want my tax dollars. He wasn't talking about a hidden tax. So the point is,
I'm talking about the inflation tax.
hold on, Peter. I just let you
Yeah,
talk for a while. Let me
Same
finish.
thing.
The point is, the country is proposing a strategic reserve where what if people like Peter don't understand this asset at all and are wrong? It's a strategic reserve where what if this money actually is
Strategic for what? What do we need it for? I can
What-
understand a strategic petroleum reserve in case we run out of petroleum. How are we going to run out of Bitcoin? Nobody needs it.
What is that a serious question? Bitcoin's the only.
No, it
fixed
is
asset.
serious.
You can't print any more Bitcoin, so you would
But
run
so
out of
what?
it.
Who cares?
but
What is the
yes.
government going to need Bitcoin for?
Okay, let's answer this
What are
question
the
directly,
people
Jack.
going to need
Yeah.
Bitcoin for? Nobody
What-
needs Bitcoin for anything.
Why do
What's
we
the
need
point?
a Bitcoin? Yes. Why do we need a Bitcoin strategic reserve? I think is the core of the question. Jack, can you answer that?
Yeah, again, because it's proven to be the best performing money over the last.
It gets so boring that I fall asleep. My head hits the microphone. I hit the keyboard. I start bringing up random documents. It's the government classified information. Anyways, that's the shit that's coming tomorrow. You guys are all going to get that document in the Discord tomorrow.
Last 15 years.
It
What-
has
well,
no. It's
what-
the best performing asset.
You
But
got,
that
dude.
history
Peter,
is so short.
Peter.
It means nothing.
It's going to be
It means
enjoyable
nothing.
for no
it can
one.
crash tomorrow.
It's going to be enjoyable for no
All
one
right,
if
all
we
right.
keep talking over each other, man. We
All right, all
gotta.
right.
I mean, I can't be the adult in the room here. You're twice my age. Go on.
You're not the adult in the room here, buddy. You're far from it, kid. Far from it, kid.
You're
The-
not.
No, it's
the
fine.
problem. The
See?
problem is. So, can I ask you then, Peter? Why does the United States own gold? Because they need to put it in a bunch of cufflinks, or for another reason?
No. Well,
Why-
all
why do
central
they own
banks
it?
own gold.
Huh?
Because ultimately, the reason they own gold is to back up the dollar. Because if there was a run on the dollar and the U.S. government had to support the price, how would they do it? They would have to take gold and sell it into the market and buy dollars. We don't have any forex reserves.
Yes.
Our reserves are gold. And if the U.S. government had to dump a bunch of Bitcoin on the market to prop up the
I
dollar,
guess-
the Bitcoin would crash even faster than the dollar.
I guess they could use Bitcoin for the same thing. So I guess I'm 50-50 on this.
There's no way that Bitcoin could back up the dollar when the Bitcoin has even less value than the dollar. You need gold.
Well,
And
so
central banks have been buying gold for years now. They're accumulating gold. None of them are buying Bitcoin. All you got is El Salvador. That's the one country that owns Bitcoin. But all the real countries in the world are buying gold. All the big BRIC countries, they're not buying any Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin was so great, why aren't the Chinese buying it? Why aren't the Russians buying it, right? Why aren't the Indians buying it? They're buying gold. They're not buying Bitcoin.
yeah, so David, I agree with Peter is that gold's giving these governments credibility. It's giving something to back their future promises, all these deficits, and Bitcoin in the same way. Is if Bitcoin is the hardest money of all time and does turn out to demonetize a lot of the assets that are monetized today, and there only is 21 million, and the technology does continue to work for another 15 years, and it is the most performant asset for another 15 years, that the United States would want to back their deficits, their future promises, and it would give them a tremendous amount of credibility if they owned 5% of the future of money. And so it is a strategic.
He said a big country. El Salvador ain't a powerful. El Salvador, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not hating, but El Salvador ain't no powerhouse country. A powerhouse country's China. And that's a powerhouse country. El Salvador ain't shit, bro. No offense. If you're I've never even met anyone who says they're El Salvadorian. Have you met anyone that says, I'm Salvadorian? I've never even met anyone that claims they're an El Salvadorian. So, correct. That's not. El Salvador isn't a big powerhouse country. I'm sorry.
Reserve in the same way that countries strategically
But it
hold
may
gold,
not
it
be
gives
the
them
future
credibility.
of money. It may not be the future of anything. That you're just guessing. You're hoping, but you don't know. You don't know that it's gonna be around.
Yeah, but
You hope it will, but you
Peter,
have no idea.
Peter, us humans don't know the future of anything. The state of being human is the future is permanently uncertain. When I walked into my building today, I could have taken the stairs or the elevator.
Well, I think he's about to talk about here I am in a woman's closet. Here he goes. So I'm taking, and here I am in a woman's closet. Even that's not guaranteed. When I walked up in the building and now in a woman's closet. Here it comes.
I made a calculated decision based on risk, market assessment, on which one was better for me. These stairs would have taken longer and I would have had to express more energy to get all the way up the stairs, but it probably would have been safer than a man-made machine. But everything in life is uncertain.
I don't know. You could have slipped on the stairs and fallen. You might
100%. There you go. So maybe you would have made a different decision than me. But the point is, these arguments towards Bitcoin apply to gold, apply to an elevator, apply to stairs. It's the fact that we're speculating on the future of anything. That's absolutely the case for being human, is that the past we cannot change, the future we don't know.
Yeah, well, the U.S. government,
that's not an argument.
The government should not be speculating on what might be the future of money. We know what the past is, and that's gold.
I disagree with that. I think the government should have a little bit of room for speculation. I want a small government to have some means of being able to prop. The government should be able to speculate a little bit. So I disagree. I disagree with the roasted turkey.
That has a long history of being money, and so that's a better bet. Than it's going to be. They've had alchemists for centuries. Trying to reinvent gold, and it never works. And this is just the latest iteration.
But again, Bitcoin's been the best performing asset for now 15 years. And so you are making
no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. It was maybe the best performing asset for a couple years at a couple times, or maybe even 4 years, maybe even 5 years. But it sure wasn't. No, it's not. That is false. That's false, young man.
I'm about to explain. If you'd let me explain it, you're making a distinction between where you'd be comfortable in adopting Bitcoin versus others. It's at what point, Peter, if it's 16, 17 years, 18 years, the U.S. government is making a proposal and saying, we understand the technology, we understand its historical performance, we understand the scarcity, and we think it's strategically important for this country to have ownership. That's their assessment. If your assessment is different and you need more time to adopt something that's probably technologically better money, then that's your own.
Jack, Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the small number of people who bought it 13 years ago. But for the people who bought it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, there are a lot of other assets that they could have bought that did much better than Bitcoin, right? So you have to go back to its inception in order.
So I wish he would answer this instead of just make this little pose and just showing that he's closed off, but he's not. He's not. And that's a future I can predict. I can predict that. I predict you're not going to answer to that statement, and you're just going to hammer into go into something else.
Or to get this great track record. And as I said, even if in a year Bitcoin is down at 10,000, right, which would be what, a 90% decline from its peak, right, whatever that is, and where most people have been wiped out in Bitcoin, you'll still be able to say, well, over the last 18 years or 60, it's the best performing asset. That could, even if Bitcoin goes down to 100, it still could be the best performing asset if you go all the way back to the very first Satoshi that was ever minted, or Bitcoin, whatever. So you'll always have that frame of reference.
So that's a point going to the roasted turkey. We haven't given many points lately. It's a long interview. Partially, I keep falling asleep and hitting random keys and shit, and he's making a little pouty face. I'm taking away a half a point for the pouty face. I'm sorry. I just can't help it. I can't help it. Learn some manners, kiddo.
But you have to acknowledge that we've had 3 years now where we haven't had a new high in gold, where the price of Bitcoin is down by 30%, despite massive marketing all around the world, hype to get people to buy, all the institutional money that has come into Bitcoin, the nonstop advertising and promotion, and it's not going up.
But
so
Peter,
to me, it looks like it's topped out.
All right, let me.
Well, hold on real quick, David. I'm sorry. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So over the last year, annualized return for U.S. stocks, 10 to 15%, gold 5 to 8%, Bitcoin 50 to 70%. Over the last 13 years, Bitcoin has been the best performing asset, 10 of the last 13. So again, just data's
Jack, just data's just not gains. Data's not in your 2 months of this year. Bitcoin is
data's-
down since February, the end of February. It's
Data's
down a
just
lot.
not, data doesn't back the claims that you're making, Peter.
Yes, it does. You're just oblivious to it. But you know what? We got plenty of time. You're young. You got plenty of time to see what happens.
But okay, how would you let me close off on this? How would you? I'm going to ask the same question to each of you. What would convince you to take the other side? So Peter's argument, Jack, to you, Peter's argument that Bitcoin is some sort of Ponzi, people are going to sell off at one point. There's going to be a big market crash. That's what Peter said earlier. What would crash the Bitcoin market? Would it be a better digital currency, a better digital money? Would it be quantum computing, cracking the blockchain code and hacking the Bitcoin base layer? Would it be something else? Hypothetically, what would cause everyone to sell Bitcoin independent of other market movements? We know Bitcoin's been correlated to stocks.
The end of the first super cycle. That's what's going to drop our damn price coming. It's the end of the first super cycle. The end of the first super cycle. That's why the price is going to be coming down for a little bit here. That's what I believe.
I think that, if gold were able to achieve what it was
We
set
ain't
out,
talking about gold, son. The question was about Bitcoin. Fuck gold. The question was about Bitcoin. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the question was what's going to change your mind. I'll let him answer. I'll shut up.
to achieve, which is be the neutral global world reserve currency and money, then Bitcoin would have a slower adoption cycle. I still think it's superior technology. But what I mean by this is that I look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin to me equals technology plus fiat liquidity. And so if the fiat liquidity were to slow down because for whatever reason, government spending went way down, and that gold was able to break out of the censorship resistance and the centralized control of banks and governments and such, and that there was a more competitive world reserve currency, I think it would slow Bitcoin adoption down. I still don't think Bitcoin would necessarily go to zero, but it would make me rethink, like I'm on record saying I think Bitcoin hits 250,000 to a million on this show, David, at some point within the next 12 to 18 months. And that's my opinion based on currency debasement and the fact that gold is going to continue to underperform as a world reserve currency. So that would be my position. And if Bitcoin were to go to $100, $50, I think that would likely be, a catastrophic blow that would further set it back. And of course, if the technology,
yeah, okay,
but I don't know. I'm curious. I'm really curious Peter's answer to this, to be totally honest.
yeah. Well, same question. What would crash Bitcoin? But then I have a separate question for you, Peter. But please address that one first.
Well, first of all, what Jack said he would like to see gold do to change his mind, gold's already done that. Gold's already succeeded at becoming the money of the world. And before Bretton Woods, gold was the reserve for all paper currency. In fact, when the U.S. country was established in the first Coinage Act of 1789, the U.S. dollar was defined as a weight of gold. I mean, gold was money. Silver was money in the United States. And even when the Federal Reserve was introduced in 1913, Federal Reserve notes were backed by gold. They were redeemable in demand, payable to the bearer in gold. And up until 1971, even though Roosevelt made it illegal for Americans to convert their Federal Reserve notes to gold, foreigners could still do it at a rate of $35 to an ounce of gold. So gold has been money. And the only reason the world accepted the dollar as the reserve in Bretton Woods was because it was redeemable in gold on demand. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Now, I agree that over the last 50 years, the world has gone off the gold standard to a fiat dollar standard, which doesn't work, is going to come to an end. And I believe gold will rise to take the dollar's place. I think that the next reserve currency is not a currency at all. It's not going to be the euro. It's not going to be the yen or the pound or the Chinese RMB. It's going to be gold. I think gold is going to be the anchor again and restore money to the monetary system. We have a monetary system with no money right now. So I think that is going to happen. And so maybe when that does happen, Jack will change his view. But as far as what would get me to change my opinion on Bitcoin, I can't imagine that if nothing has changed my opinion yet, right? I've known about Bitcoin since it was $1 or under $10 for sure. I forget exactly, but it was sometime in 2010 where it came on my radar, and I actually thought about buying it. But I've watched it, and I've seen it as an observer grow, and I know there was a time that I even thought about buying it just as a trade, and I probably should have done it. I'm not that big a speculative trader, not because I believed in it, because I saw a lot of people that were believing in it, and I thought it had the potential to go up, but I didn't know if I would get out in time, or I don't know. I just have a hard time knowingly participating in a bubble, even though you can make money doing that. But so yeah, I mean, can the price of Bitcoin go up? I mean, I don't think it could go to the numbers that Jack talked about. I mean, but could it go to 100,000?
Snooze fest. I'm falling asleep again. My head's about to hit the keyboard. I'm about to randomly press a bunch of buttons. My glasses keep smudging up because they keep smushing against my face. When I fall asleep, I keep having to clean my glasses because there's grease on them from my own dang face.
I mean, could it go to 200,000? I mean, I doubt it would get to 200,000. Maybe you can get to 100,000, although I think that if it was going to go there, it would have already gone there with all the hype that we've seen recently. But even if it does, it's not exciting to me as an investor anymore because it's 56,000 now. I mean, 100,000 isn't even a double. But, for the risk that it implodes, it's just not there. There are so many assets that I already own, speculative assets, that I think could go up 10 times, 20 times, with a lot less downside risk than Bitcoin. So for me, if I'm going to speculate, there's better bets to make than betting on a crowded trade like Bitcoin. So I don't know, like the price going up isn't going to change my mind, although I do think there's a good chance that it's already topped out, right, in gold. And so, if it makes a new high, that might make me think that, well, maybe it's got another leg going, it could go up. But if
just to
Bitcoin
play,
was actually, if Bitcoin, I've said this before, if Bitcoin actually becomes money, if I start traveling around and every place I go, prices are expressed in Satoshis, if people don't want my dollars or my euros, if they want to sell me a dinner in a restaurant and they just take Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin is actually succeeding as money and driving out all the other inferior forms of money, Gresham's law, whatever, if everybody is just using Bitcoin and Bitcoin is the winner and prices are in Bitcoin, if, I can buy insurance policies and they have Bitcoin benefits, I pay my premiums in Bitcoin, I get my benefits, if rents are in Bitcoin, if everything is expressed in a quantity of Satoshis, then I guess I was wrong, right? You were right. Bitcoin actually became money and it replaced all the other currencies. But it's actually used less for that purpose.
Expecting gold to then regain
Oh God, I'm gonna make a bagel or something. I need something to eat.
monetary prominence. What gives you the confidence that it can achieve those things when it clearly failed before? What has changed?
Gold didn't fail. People failed. Governments failed. Gold is just a metal, right?
So is gold
the people
acting as
failed.
Okay, well, let Peter answer.
The people failed to stay on a gold standard through governments. Because again, governments don't like a gold standard. It means you have to balance the budget. It means you can't buy votes anymore. You have to live within your means. No politician wants to do that. So the politicians were able to break free of the shackles that gold provided. Now, I think in this next currency crisis, when things are really bad and there's massive inflation and now you have price controls and shortages and black markets, there's going to be a movement to go back to gold because it's going to be the only way to restore confidence in a monetary system. But before that happens, the only reason that private companies don't provide an alternative is just because of the cost. And the main cost is government regulation. If you didn't have all these AML, KYC, all these laws, it would be very easy, very simple for gold to be reintroduced into the monetary system, and it would be adopted almost immediately by everybody. But governments are creating these barriers to that with regulations and putting people in jail if they try to use gold as money and stuff like that. But you're actually in a position, I wouldn't even mind talking to you about it, but you're in a position that you may be able to reintroduce gold as money. You might already have the infrastructure. You might already have some economies of scale and have the AML KYC to offer to your customers
like I would say once, maybe twice a year. Hopefully I know they're not watching, but my neighbors across the street, they have two little kids, a boy and a girl. And I don't know which one it is. But I don't know which one it is, but they have a really bad fit where they just scream bloody murder for like hours. It's like the kid is at the dentist and he's getting his tooth pulled, and it happens like once or twice a year. The kid just and there's just nothing they can do about it. They just ignore them and go about their daily business. But you know, they have like their windows open and just right now it's still going on. The kid is just it's going on right now as we speak. It's happening again. It happens once, sometimes twice a year. It hasn't happened for a long time, but that kid's having a bad day for whatever reason.
A gold money that they can use in commerce instead of dollars, euros, yen, that merchants can use, that they can price their products in, that they can receive payment in. I mean, most sellers of goods and services would prefer to get paid in gold. I mean, gold is a better way to get paid, especially as inflation really starts to pick up and you start to worry that if I sell these products and I take paper, what happens if, you know, the paper collapses and I can't even rebuy my inventory because the prices have gone up. So I think as inflation really becomes entrenched, merchants are going to look to accept real value in exchange for whatever goods or services they have to sell. And the best,
he might be grounded or something. That kid is correct. He's the kid's mad. The kid's mad, you know. The poor kid. He's really upset about something.
monetary instrument is gold.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll let Jack
I have
close
another
off.
question.
Yeah.
I just have another follow-up to you then, Peter, because I agree with what you're saying. So is it correct for me to summarize that you're making the point that in a world, in an environment where governments and humans trust and respect each other unequivocally and always act fair, gold's a phenomenal monetary asset, because therein lies what I think Bitcoin has achieved, is that despite parties that are enemies, parties that can't trust each other, parties that don't act totally fair, Bitcoin still retains the qualities and properties of money. That, in my opinion, is one of the core achievements that Bitcoin has developed and innovated on that gold hasn't. So is it fair to say that you believe gold is a great money, assuming that, you know, human nature is to always be fair and equitable and honest, and that if humans and governments are ever dishonest, not fair, and don't act according to principles, that gold then is a failed money? Is that basically what you said?
No, that's not what I've said. But I'm saying the government doesn't like competition, right? I mean, and so gold is competition for dollars or any other fiat currency. So the government tries to erect barriers to make it harder for the market to choose gold over the dollar, right? With respect to Bitcoin, Bitcoin really doesn't represent the type of competitive threat to the dollar that gold does. In fact, now I hear, you know, like Michael Saylor is like, oh, the Bitcoin isn't a threat to the dollar. I mean, it's great. Bitcoin and the dollar are best buddies, right? They go hand in hand. You know, the dollar is going to run on the Bitcoin blockchain or whatever the nonsense he's saying to justify his multi-million-dollar Bitcoin price target. But look, the government doesn't like free speech. They don't like privacy. They don't like any of our rights that are secured by the Constitution. That's why we secured them, because we know that the governments are going to try to abridge them. And so they don't want us to be able to choose the money that we want to use. And they want to use the fear of a terrorist. You know, oh, we have to have all these regulations because, you know, we got to get the terrorists, right? Which is a tiny segment of the population. I mean, they're more concerned about tax evaders than they are about terrorists, but that doesn't, you know, get as many votes or scare up the support for these bills. But they don't want people you know, using an alternative form of money for all sorts of reasons. But it's going to happen, you know, and, you know, people.
This interview is too long. It's too long. Because now we're just flopping into the standard vanilla Bitcoin shit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this interview. And I'm done with this shit. I think it's pretty obvious that Peter wins this debate, and that's nothing to say anything bad about Bitcoin, whatever the fuck. But I'm done, and I'm done. We're done. We're done. Let's go, Lions. So today,
Gentlemen,
Steve Stevens, I got the Cowboys, and I got the Lions -3. So Cowboys cashed, and the Lions game looks like it's almost halftime. I got the Lions by 3.
They are so few and far between, and I'm grateful for the memorability of each moment. Moments wrapped in romance that end with bitter sunrises and goodbyes.
All right. All right. We're going to call it here. I might stream later on tonight, but I'm going to watch some more foosball and relax on this Sunday. Maybe I'll be back tonight. Maybe I won't. Thanks for being here. That was a fun little watch party. It went stale a couple times, but that interview was too long. It was too long. They got to chop it down a little bit. So a big week coming up next week. Next week we have the Daily Twin. The Daily Twins are interviewing me, and I think me and Gareth are gonna do a little video or stream together too. So I'll see you guys later, and have a good rest of your day.